time since I have seen your face in the place. I just gotta let you know that I miss you, baby. I need to have you here with me, baby. Please give me a second chance with me, baby. My life is so miserable without you. I can't go through my day, baby. Please come back. Girl, you are to me, more than life to me, girl. Oh yeah, so far away, in my heart you always stay, girl. Reminiscing of the days gone by, I share my enormous moments with tears of joy. Never thought I would have fallen in love with a girl with a smile as sweet as yours. One more second, one more minute, one more hour, one more day to make things right between us. To do the things I should have done long ago. I just one more time. One more second, one more minute, one more hour, one more day to make things right between us.
Good evening, welcome back to Dissect. Another nice episode for you guys this evening. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have for you this evening the Effects Band. The man Daddy Philo is in the building, and of course, the man Vibes Daddy is in the building with us. And our special guest with us as well, special co-host, I should say, the man DJ Kaza is in the building as well. What's going on, guys?
Yep. Good evening, everybody.
Everything
good?
good?
All right.
Everything nice?
Yeah, everything nice, bro.
So I guess we'll have you guys introduce yourselves to the people of Dissect TDN TV. So I guess Philo will start with you.
Yes, Jeffrey Alexander. Well, my band name, band exploit, so to speak, Daddy Philo.
All right.
From Goodwill, Dominica, Zebians, Gota Krongs, Campiad Massive, Gota, in that area there.
Okay. Vibes.
Yo, big up to everybody. Nice seeing everybody in here. My name, Peter, aka Vibes Daddy. I hail from the same area Jeffrey just called.
All right.
Also, I can want to big up all the Warriors Massive. Everybody listening, welcome.
Nice. So let's start with the name Effects.
Yeah.
How did that name come about?
Boy,
And what year were you all established?
that name came about in 1992,
Okay.
We were in SMA. We had a meeting in SMA under the this shed where vendors used to sell their bakes
Okay. Yeah.
and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We had a meeting there, and we were looking for a name for at least a month.
Right.
We had different stuff came up, but that one ended up coming up, and the whole materialization with the spelling changed over a span of 1 year to 1 year and a half, because it started with the real effects in terms of EFFECTS, and then we changed it up by probably a year and a half into trying to play music.
Right.
Because we were not that good, I tell you straight.
Like you say, you were just starting out it was SMA days, right?
Well, I was in SMA. I finished SMA now. I've got of SMA 2 years and more, and I was teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where would you have been at that time, Peter, Vibes Daddy?
Oh, 92, I got a different college in 92, yeah. We working already down at the soap plant, DCP, during that time. Yeah, and as you know, Jeffrey was talking about the name. Yeah, a lot of runaround went in that. I think if Jeffrey can correct me, our cousin was kind of part of the naming as well. That's Edgar Royer. Yeah, from Cottage. He was part of, this whole thing because he's a musician himself.
Right.
He was supposed to be the guitar, right?
The guitarist, right? Around that time. So, like Jeffrey said, I don't think we were really not good, But
You're having a real laugh at that one.
Yeah, but we were there, man. Much more determined anyway. As far as we're concerned, nobody was better than us anyway.
That's the spirit,
I like that attitude, man.
Even though we were not good, we always had that chip on our shoulder that, we good no matter what. We good.
Right.
and you two are related.
Yeah, that's my brother. That's my bigger brother right there.
Well, I'm 1 year older than Peter, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So we basically knew from a very young age that we like the music kind of thing. Because where we used to stay there, I don't know if nobody know the area, right? So if when you come into Virgin Lane, you pass St. Martin's School and you can make a right. You have two different ways you can make a right to go into a yard there. It's like a little ghetto, a little trench town kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And inside there have a lot of people, trust me. So inside there is between St. Martin's School, and if you go to Bath Road area, you have another shortcut going to Convent. And if you go to the north, that will be to the south, you have Campbell's, which is Cornell and them.
Right.
So we used to climb that wall there and look over. And if you go a little bit to southwest, you had what we call Grotto. The original Grotto where they used to have dances in the 70s. Yeah, we were right there. Every time you have a dance, the noise in your head, the bass in your head, big time. Yeah. So since at that time, a lot in that particular yard, a lot of people used to come, a lot of musicians passed through that yard. And you had a couple fellas playing swing stars in that yard also. All right, and a couple roadies in that yard like Touching Down. Levi used to be in that yard. I know Levi in that yard for a long while.
Okay.
Fitzroy Williams, family, Kiwi, and Fitzroy Williams Mother, all of them used to be closer to the Bath Road side.
Right.
So it's the same area, a lot of people in that area. So there were always musicians in that area and fellas playing, but Peter and I, them times we staying in a shingle house. It's basically a 1-bedroom house, right?
Right.
And we didn't have money to buy food, not just to buy an instrument, but we just know we eventually like it. But Peter was always on some kind of can, and then eventually I just had to jump on some kind of pillar or can, and that was our instruments back in the day,
Yeah, that's great.
Real ghetto instruments.
Yeah. Even if I can jump in, just allow me to jump in a bit there.
Yeah, man.
Back then I used to make my own drums. So you had those big butter tins, Yeah, when when the shopkeepers they take out a piece of cheese in it, you have that big empty spot.
Yes.
So I used to find myself with my little, my little cabaway, my little cat, go all the way, travel down through Bath Road, pass by the police station. Or if I in Virgin Lane, I just buzz down by Peter Pross and them from Johnny Henry and them, end up straight by the standpipe by Immigration, then go by Astafans in the rubbish bin where they had those hard plastics before. You could stretch it. So it's to cut in that and put it over the tin and take the tube and tie it so I could make my toms, and back in the day, what I would call the pish, the hi-hat sabi crash. I would take a piece of wood, make it and put it in a hole, and knock it until they make a little circle and they put a nail in it, But remember, all this time now, you're young man watching them things out of of the grotto right there, the Swinging Stars, because there used to have a lot of glass and a whole set of paintings and stuff. It was a really groovy disco kind of vibe.
Right.
You know?
Nice.
So when you go there and you see that, so you get so creative back in the day, and you put your nail in that. Like I say, back in the day we were engineers before we even knew that.
Yeah.
So
True.
you know, making our own drums, and then have my stick and always and the you know that you know after you finish the pitch must come. If you don't come in, that's not it yet.
Yeah.
You know, so it was cool, you know, raising up around there, listening to, like Jeffrey say, all the big bands. Sometimes if it's Tab or whichever band that comes down and plays Swinging Stars, you will get a chance to be in the yard and listen. You know, so you have to big up the boys in the yard, man. You know, that yard is something else. Yeah.
Without cutting you off, Peter, I was about
Yes,
to
sir.
ask, was Swinging Stars a part of you all's inspiration? As I hear you all mention them a couple times now, were they a big part of yours inspiration coming up?
Grotto was it in, you know.
Yeah, most deaf, because that's what we were hearing.
Norman later and them Swing Stars were very, very organized with their grotto, because they own grotto,
Yeah.
they own the venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
They own the doors and they own the bar. Trust
And
me.
this is in Roseau?
Yeah,
That's a bathroom there.
okay, you know where the infirmary is right now in Roseau on Bath Road?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
exactly the spot.
That's exactly where grotto used to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Norman and later used to own that entire spot. And in addition to owning the place, owning the bar and everything else, they own their own sound system. You understand? And everybody, from what I knew, everybody used to get a little stipend, a little salary monthly, who used to play for Swinging Stars. They were very organized, trust me.
But up to this day, you can see that, right? They still keep that like a real business, not like a real business. It is a business. Swinging Stars is just a business.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and organized and disciplined. You have never heard Swinging Stars' name in anything
That's true.
more than, you know, out of respect, because the individuals involved were, you know, stalwarts in everything they did in society. You know?
Right.
So it was good. It was good vibes, learning from them and coming up and seeing all of those guys, the way they operate and the way they move as a group as one.
Right.
I've never seen Swinging Stars on stage making noise with one another, or talking about Marcelo bring up the bass guitar yet, or them kind of thing. None of that stuff.
We don't know if they fight at the back, because
Well, that's the thing.
we used to fight at the back and sit on stage and do all things. So
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They never did it on stage for anybody to see. Like in every household, you know, every household have, you know, we fighting each other's truth, but when we come, you know, everything is discipline.
yeah.
Hey,
Definitely.
Peter
So-
will pick a lash already, boy.
So it's,
Peter, you start.
yeah,
Peter, don't do my job for me yet. Let me crack first. Don't do
all
that.
right.
Do that. Anyway, nobody see what's going to ask.
So, we get the history of you two individuals, right?
Yeah.
But how did the band itself now come together? How did that magic work?
Well, I'll tell you what. I was trying to get Peter into a band for a very long time, even especially when I end up in SMA,
Right.
because I always know, and I guess I have a little thing for that. I always know Peter had a different talent, right? Because everything he put his hand on, it would turn to gold in terms of the music thing, and you could hear. Well, it was raw, but you could hear it. So it was always my mission. I say one day I have to get me sent to a band, and I tried to get him into Rough and Ready. That didn't work. Or there was a time I tried to, when Colin and them had just started, we tried to do a thing with Colin and Keith and a few other guys.
Right.
But you know, you do not have equipment, so that couldn't work, right?
Right.
And you don't have funding for it.
Right.
So when I tell Peter, I say, Peter, we're gonna have to do that on our own, you know. But I did not really take it seriously until when Peter told me, "Boy, Philo boy, I know them fellas, Clinton, Hayford, and Morris and Ban, and them and all this in a yard, Great Marlborough Street there, just behind of Cock Street. There was a dead end, you know, Great Marlborough Street at the top there.
Okay.
And Peter told me, boy, let me tell you something. Clinton them, not doing nothing up there, boy. I think we should call Clinton at the time. Clinton and Hayford were going to college with Peter, right?
Right.
And Peter said, well, let's call them man about it. But when he told me that, I wasn't really taking it serious. And I said, you know what, Peter? You really want to do that? And then when Sen House, we were in the choir together. I tell him what I was thinking and what Peter said.
Right.
And he said, let's do it. And when Sen House, we said, let's do it. Trust me, let's do it. Let's go. Let's get mad. And that's how that ended up coming about, you know, more or less.
Wow. And so all you practiced for how long since all you was no good before all your first song?
Go ahead, Peter.
Wow, practice for how long? I don't thinking about this practice thing really and truly. I don't think it have no band on the face of this earth. If I can say that practice as much as this band. Every day got big day.
Yeah.
We there, you know, with our big glass of juice, our $2.50 Mastiff, you know.
Yes.
After we finish practice, it's played to the tennis, it's come out, it's go practice again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We practice for a very, very long while. And also, you know, visiting the band also. If I can go there, and we might end up going there, but, you know, as you asked the question, the RSBs and, you know, because they are the ones responsible for my first drum set. That's the Simmons red drum set.
Right.
So they donated that to the band. So we practice. We practice a lot.
You said donated?
Well, I could say
Wow.
back in the day, I can say donated.
Nah, the man didn't donate that.
I can say donated.
I guess you will tell us that story now.
No. What I'm saying is that things used to happen sometimes, and there's no know when the money come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I get a loan for that to pay them guys, man.
Yeah, but even if with the connection and the relationship between, you know, it could basically maybe go for more.
Right.
But, you know, but anyway, so let's say something was, you know, given for it, but, you know, because of the relationship, RSB is one of the bands that not maybe like A1 in helping us. And not forget, I want to big up Mr. Derek Alexander, Didi.
Mm-hmm.
Didi was the man that made us take his Juno keyboard and Clint had that, and that I believe that's Jeffrey, if you can correct me, that's maybe one of the first keyboards we owned.
It was the first real keyboard.
Real keyboard, yeah.
Because
yeah.
we had a little keyboard like that, just about that.
The two speakers on the
No
side.
wider than my shoulders.
Yeah.
Casio.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
We
okay.
had a
Okay.
serious brass, yeah.
But
Yeah.
when Copper
Yeah.
Brass, you couldn't play that, boy. Yeah, man.
It had a serious brass.
Yeah.
And there was another one Brinsley had. Brinsley
Brinsley had another one, yeah.
had another little one. But we had two keyboardists, right?
Right.
Right.
Keyboardists. So we needed things to happen. But as Peter said that there, let me take that a little bit further back, sorry. Yeah. What's his name? When we were trying to get equipment to practice, right? One of the things I did, I went to oh God, what's his name again? Julius C. Murphy, right?
Right.
And he told me he doesn't have anything to give right now, but he has some house speakers. Now the house speakers were big speakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
These are the first two big speakers. Them two speakers make ding dang in my mother laundry house at the back of the house, right?
Right.
It was it's a galvanized thing, so that is shaking the galvanized and
Yeah.
making it sound. It's small, it's a 12 by 12, but making it sound as if something a big thing, but it's a small space, right?
Right.
So he himself, Julius, gave us that. His name will come up again because he was the one that gave us the start of the speakers.
Right.
Because I knew him because of Zebians. I used to play on Zebians, and he used to sponsor our small gold league, yes,
Okay.
and the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he even used to sponsor Bad Boys basketball team in Focoli and the Focoli basketball league.
Yeah.
So we knew him anything, and he's a partner that we knew around. So
A community leader of sorts.
Yes, it is. He was.
Yeah,
And
Mr. and Madesh, the man used to be always around supporting our stuff, right?
Right.
So we get them speakers, and as Peter said, that keyboard we get from
Derek, yeah.
Derek there. But the two other keyboards were two little small keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to what's his name? Madesh, Pablo. Or do you know Pablo, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to Pablo. I said, Pablo, I need to take a loan because we need drums. Peter can't just be standing up there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he come and he sent a loan for me. All right. You signed 2 loans for me, but the first one was to get the drums. It was the Simon drums, and then to get the mixer, if I recall. And also that's how we end up having little thing to plug in and blah blah blah. That's how it started.
Right.
In terms of the equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peter mentioned about the practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
The practice was a little bit funny in the sense that we had designated days to practice, and usually it used to be 2 times a week, but every night them fellas used to come there. I'm telling you, man.
Like a
Because
natural
there was
energy.
times I said, fellas, okay, me have to pay the light bill, you know. I mean, every night them I just come there, and Clint in particular with Hayford
Right.
and Brinsley, them 3 fellas used to be there every night. They're not coming up to basketball because them days there you playing the basketball and the football and you come to practice.
Yes.
Yep.
Them man coming to the banners every night. There's certain time I have to just end up giving them a key and say, agree. I can't be there all the time, right?
Yeah.
But they were there every time, and that is a kind of thing, a kind of dedication you cannot really you can't put a price on.
That's true.
Because from the time I saw, by the way, Hayford wasn't supposed to be an original bass.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
just like Brinsley wasn't supposed to be our original rhythm keyboard man. It was supposed to be Cecil Pemberton.
Right.
You know, Pembo daughter.
Yeah.
But eventually she realized we can't do jack shit, we can't play jack shit, and she had to leave.
Right.
Yeah, because she was
Because
good already.
Really play. She could
Okay.
really play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the practice era we're talking.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
She
Yeah.
could play. So eventually she had to leave because honestly it was bad, you know, my boy. And then Hayford now used to follow Clint all the time because Hayford interested.
Right.
So Hayford had what we call
A symphony.
a little synth that Clint had. It had a handle like a guitar, but it had about maybe probably 20 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Hayford started playing bass on that. Praise God for that, we boy. When Hayford started playing bass on that, we started to sing a little bit.
In
A
tune.
little bit. You know, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But the singing we used to do in choir and the singing you're doing as a lead singer is a totally different thing.
Totally different vibe.
Horrible singing, my boy. I can tell
We
you
start the whole chords.
Yeah.
it's a chorus, man.
I don't want to laugh. I'm sorry. But
It was
Jeffrey's
terrible,
really
you know, for
making
real,
the song bad.
Yo.
You know? I'm sorry.
And the other thing too, we have Wayne was in choir,
Yeah,
Jeff was in choir,
yes.
Right.
Jeffrey pulled me in choir, so you know, so I have to be
Singing as a big group, not a solo man.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I was doing my little Congo thing, you know,
Yeah.
doing his thing. So even though being in the choir, you still have that kind of, you know, musical vibe in you anyway. You had the
Yeah.
natural vibe, but being around what's Cornell brother name, the one that's playing the organ in the church, Jeffrey. Cedric. So being around the great man like Cedric, you know, even though you're green hand, but yes, the notes on them is to fly all over the place, boy. Boy. Yeah, but all that was it's for good practice. So only now we can laugh about it, but
Right.
you know, it really helped build us. And before, I just want to say though, even with the rehearsal, as we're talking about the rehearsal, I want to say thanks very much. And if it wasn't for these 2 people, we wouldn't be here now talking about, you know, music and band. That's our adopted mother, Rosa Defoe, and Mr. This is perhaps Neville Defoe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they, without them, making us just be ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it would have, because I tell you, I used to be drumming on every plate and bomb in this kitchen, and every time hitting a thing, even though we're downstairs, it maybe be chopping in her when she come up from work because she is a nurse,
Right.
but she never, you know, stop us from doing what we do. And,
Yeah, for real. Especially when we were in the in the laundry room with the guys.
yeah. Ooh.
Imagine, I'll give you a little story about next door at the back was Doobie House, Duncan's stool, and his sisters are 77.
Yeah, Duncan Jerome.
Is Daryl's record shop, right?
Yeah.
Daryl's record shop had a brother, and the brother was a Rasta man. Every now he man used to drink. I don't know what kind of Rasta man is. But every time the man drink, the man come in and hit the galvanizer and he vex because we making the noise, right?
Yeah.
And one day the trouble get out when Mr. take a brick and lash my adopted mother, man.
Well, he said it, you know, and when you look in that hit mine.
Yeah, I take a barbecue cover and I just smash it on Mr. Head in the man.
It was. But you know, just to show you all what we went through.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, man, that was a kind of thing where it kind of threw me for a loop, right?
Right.
Said, yeah. We're young. Why Mr. would take a brick and lash?
And the Senate there, the Senate in the yard, man.
Anyway, long story short, she decided after that we'll go downstairs instead.
Yeah.
In the downstairs, right? And practice.
Right.
So that's how we end up downstairs. And going downstairs, things get a little bit more organized in that sense because I had a schedule. Because I teach in them times, yeah. So in teaching, you have to know how to organize your scheme of work for the week and for the month and stuff like that. Sure. So we had a schedule, and back in the day, you can ask anybody. I was like a drill sergeant, like I was on fellas back.
Yeah.
we end up reaching where we're reaching in quicker time than usual because I was just like a fellas. Yeah. And when fellas do what they have to do, there's sanction on that too, all kind of thing. I was even worse than Maxime, trust me. I already talked to Maxime last week. Trust me, I was worse than Maxime.
Well, I had a few experience myself, right, Kels?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but even, let me just jump in quickly before we finish with the practice session. Even when we learn from a very, very young age, apart from, you know, Jeffrey was more experienced than us, you know. So we had to put ourselves in a position where if we really want to do this, we have to do it right.
Right.
Because in terms of seeing other groups and what they do, it was one thing to come to the balance and practice every night. But there's one thing that we decided, you know what? We stop coming in the balance and wasting time.
Right.
You go and learn the song
beforehand,
and then we'll come in the balance and work out parts. After that, we decided, you know what? We're gonna save a time for the rhythm section to work on their stuff. The vocalists and them don't need to be there. They can be there but not participate in where they put in vocals. Right. And another time, then the vocals, everything with a sit down. So we learned that very, very early without anybody teaching that to us.
Right.
For real.
You know, nobody taught us that. We just had to. It wasn't us to put things and organize things together. Right. And as you know, we had all these influences from inland and out of the island that we grabbed to make and do what we have to do. But there was a lot of discipline involved because that helped us to me, I always say, and other people that say, you guys will be way ahead of all your time.
Indeed.
In terms of the talent and what all you guys could have done. Right now, what people are hearing people doing now, you guys done that a long time. This thing is not new.
Right.
You know, but we appreciate that made us, you know, it was good going through all these struggles, and you know, that is what helped us do what we do. Or what we did, sorry.
So go ahead.
Novelist, I gotta drop a question on them because I like the fact that they talk about how hard they practice. So how long would you say your guys practice before you all actually decided, no, okay, we've done this inside here, let me go outside there and do that now?
Okay. You see, that question is an interesting question in the sense that we were not ready when we started because in my head, right, I stick in, and by the way, that was a flow back then for me. I stick into my schedule, but I'm not really looking and watching them fellas and see whether or not they're totally ready. I just know my schedule. Hey, by that date we have to go out and play.
Okay.
Which was a bad thing on my part. I can admit that because I see it ended up making certain fellas a little bit. It took them some time to come out of their shell, so to speak. You understand?
Okay.
Especially Clint. So I'm gonna say we were probably practicing for probably 9-10 months, maybe a year. and I had them and playing, and we had no right going and play.
Right.
But the advantage to that was that them fellas end up seeing the possibilities. Because one thing we had when we first started, and mark you, that's important in the history of the music, yeah?
Right.
So you have Clint, you have Hayford, you have Morris, and you have Bannon in that same Great Marlborough Street at the top there. You could say Cox Street too.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Between Kennedy Avenue and Cox Street.
Right.
Them man was always into their drum machine, but it was mostly flames, right?
Mm-hmm.
When them man come around, and Bannon was with us all the time. Bannon just never get to sing at the front, but Bannon was there from the get-go.
From the get-go, yeah.
Just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the drum machine part, the first time Peter mentioned about the drum machine part, and them fellas come, we started to use that as a crutch, right?
Right.
Because you can play the music too well, but you still have the rhythm sounding good, and people will definitely move somehow.
Yes. Yes.
And then Peter's natural ability to chant. So that's what that really prevents us from getting stones, when I got the first time. No, honestly, because if I was in the crowd, I would have stoned me.
Yeah.
We were not sounding good, but the drum machine was always the rhythm, and then eventually Peter linked up with a partner they call Big Stepper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our history, we cannot mention Effects without mention a band by the name of Tropic Tension.
Right.
At the top of JC's, you had JC's son, Calvin, and you had Big Stepper, which was Kurt. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah,
you had Hefty. Everybody know Hefty. He used to be in Rough and Ready too.
Okay. Yes.
And you have Dyer. Them fellas, Peter and Kurt, who is Big Stepper, used to exchange live of jam band. So every time they bring it in the band house, we introducing songs to them, man, and then eventually Clinton Hayford started liking into it. Because Clinton Hayford was mostly Burn influence, but then eventually Peter and I just get them into the jam band thing, right?
Right.
And then the programming gets so good that in Clint's first 2 years, Clint had to be the best programmer in the country.
Yeah, most
history.
Yes.
You feel so at that time?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because the amount of practice and we used to bring the music, because all the music we're not bringing as much as that, but the jam band and the building films we bringing it. We're always bringing it there. 17 plus. What's the other band from St. Croix used to bring there? Enforcements.
Violators.
Violators was late.
No, they just came late. Yeah, they came late.
What is Bosco? What is the Bosco band again? Bosco.
But that was another.
He used to be engineer eventually for jam band. I can't remember. Oh shit. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Our bunch of bands from St. Thomas and St. Croix, and we're pushing that on Clinton Hayford and everybody, and even more than who like his Zook, eventually get into the groove.
Right.
So that kind of helped us with the first time we end up playing, because people could move, but people could tell that we couldn't harmonize, we couldn't sing a note, a whole one note properly. All right, and then the band wasn't really a unit except for the drum machine, so it was always a crutch back in the early days.
Right.
Yeah.
And you I could definitely say in the early days Effects had that Tomian-ish type sound to it.
Yes.
So I definitely see where the influence coming from. So the practice, the performance, I take that was other people's songs, minus Peter chanting, right?
Yeah.
So,
mostly.
So what were you guys creating your own music back then too? Like,
oh yeah.
So
that's Peter.
Yeah, we were because fusing everything local to those guys, to all the bands we mentioned already, Kelly and Funks, all those other bands.
Right.
We definitely created something that was our own. So sometimes people maybe say, "But Peter, you think all you really is to play bouillon?" Because we never really coined our music as being bouillon or being anything. We just played great music.
Yeah. Right.
So we don't worry about under what umbrella you want to put it. Be the judge.
Just music. Yes.
Yeah, just be the judge. Be the judge of do that for yourself. But when it comes to the creation, and the thing about it is, because of how we used to rehearse and the creativity of every member there. Big up to Griffin, Cadet, That's one of our guitarists too. At a certain time, we used to play with 2 guitarists.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically we could actually create an album every practice session.
Every practice.
Wow.
This is how it was on a regular
Yeah.
basis. And you want to know why? Peter might not admit to it, right? Back in the day, right? My major problem with Peter, and I used to have problems with everybody. Let us be fair. Because I'm the leader and I want to see certain things happen.
You want to see things work out. Yeah.
Peter, major problem was he knew he was good at making lyrics up.
Right.
So he never used to learn the lyrics of a song. But then I said, Peter, if I'm a man and I come to a jam and I hear a song I hear on the radio, I want to sing along too. You can't just make up your thing.
Yeah.
But you see, with Cutty Jeffrey, right? The whole technique for me was, you know what? Shit, when we start to really race and move and do our repertoires, you know, we will never do full songs, you know.
Right.
We'll do 2 verses a chorus or first one a chorus, it is a medley, and jump in there. Hey, I'm not gonna learn the whole song. I'm only doing the first one.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What happens though is, and even for those young bands or even some of the guys that in there now doing the music, you have to learn the entire tune, because when you see you on stage and you hook and get that personal vibe with somebody in the audience, sometimes that song is so sweet. You know, you cannot let it go until a certain time.
That's right.
You know, you're performing that song so sweet. There's a particular song that when we go on tour a couple of times with the Effects Departments in Crime, you know, that song they also call Wet. You know, my pants and shirts wet.
Oh, yes.
Or you know, all you guys know that song.
Oh, yes.
Let me tell you something. When you see we start to play that song, you can't let that go too fast, you know.
Yeah.
It's problem you're looking for.
Yeah. It's a
So
nice
that's just
song.
one of the examples. When it have, especially if it's a major hit,
Right.
you have to make sure that the audience, because at the end of the day, it's not yourself you're performing for. People pay their money,
Right.
and you have to show that respect and give that back, give that love back. But yeah,
Well-
that was a vibe. That but
Yeah.
again, it was just me,
But
you know.
But with Peter now, it ended up becoming an advantage to us. You see, it's really, I didn't like it for you, but at the same time, it ended up becoming an advantage because he right in the sense that every section we could make a song.
Right.
Because it's sometimes Clint would just run the beat, and because of his ability like that, I would hear something, right?
Right.
So I always have tip on cock.
Right.
So there was one advantage. The advantage was I get material to work on, and then I bring it back in the band house, right?
Right.
Back then, nobody in the band house could really write this song except me. So when Peter come up with the idea and come up with the hook line, I try to put a storyline to it, right? And I come back and I give it to Peter, right? So it took Peter, by probably the 3rd album, Peter was in his groove to write it properly and do his thing.
That's right.
Because all the time, he didn't realize that when you're learning a song and you're writing it down too, you're also teaching yourself how to write.
Right.
So wait. Just to
You
be clear,
understand?
just to be clear before you go further, Jeffrey, you're talking about the actually the composition part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm correct, like so
Yes.
you're saying is you could fully compose, you could write the
Yeah,
chords,
because-
everything, the notes, but
No,
Peter had the
necessarily
imagination.
the words.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
so
mhm.
we used to something we used to say lyrical phrasing. Lyrical phrasing, Peter used to be good at that. So basically
okay.
the
Properly.
melody and then he come up with a hook line. Most time when he come
Properly.
up with the hook line, I keep the hook line.
Mhm.
But then I have to write a storyline. Because I was always writing songs on book. I have an idea what is a bridge, what is a chorus, what is the whatever. That man didn't have that.
Right.
So all the time Peter wasn't writing down the song, he didn't realize he wasn't teaching himself how to write it down. Eventually he realized, oh shit, when I write it down, I'm teaching myself how to write a song.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So by the third cassette, Peter was long gone on that thing. But for the first 2, I had to take the bulk of the thing, take the cassette we did the live on, whether it's a live on a show or in the band house, go home, listen to it, put things in place, bring it back. I say, hey, Peter, you sing that. Once I had to tell Clint, oh, you sing that part because I like your voice on that part. And then so forth and so on, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But that was only for the first 2 cassettes. But afterwards, Peter was like a boss on that thing.
Definitely.
Nice, nice.
Most definitely. We'll get
This is
into
about
that
say, by
too.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Yeah, man.
So, what was the first big show you guys did in Dominica before even like going out to Dominica? What was the first big show, and did you guys have a recorded album at the time?
First big
what was
show.
the first?
Like when I say big show, I guess we could probably call something that would probably be done in Festival City at the time, or them kind of a vibes.
Boy, the first big show. Well,
Was Band Splash, you know? Band Splash?
I want to say Band Splash, but you know why I don't want to say Band Splash?
Yeah.
Because before the Band Splash that everybody knew in Carnival City, we had a Band Splash in SME.
SME, right.
Right.
Now, the Band Splash in SME was really organized by all the bands involved. Like, it was Tropic Tension, it was
Yeah.
Effects. You had Root Boys from Maho.
Yeah.
You had Lucas Band from
Trafalgar.
Trafalgar.
Lucas Band, yes.
Yeah, Rough and Ready. Say they told me we are small fries, so they're not performing. I just have to say that.
Serious.
And if you ask FC, Hefty will tell you they tell him the same thing too, because I asked him to go and talk to Bob, and he said, Bob say, no, that's small fries, we're not playing there.
Right.
By the way, they were right to that because Rough and Ready could play them. Rough and Ready was
They could play them, yeah.
Right.
Back
They were
then,
really
yeah.
good. They were really good.
They were at the front there already.
So the first big show I would say it's that first Band Splash
Right.
in SMA.
Mhm.
I think that's the first big show, and that's the first beating we get. And I say we'll never get a beating like that again,
Yeah.
So,
because almost every band play better than us.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Who
then,
did you end up playing with that day?
Huh?
What was the other bands? Just a couple bands, if you remember that you end up.
Tropical
Attention, what I
Lucas
told you
and all
about
that,
us, yeah.
yeah. Lucas
Root
Band.
Boys from Grande,
And Lucas Band.
not from Grande, from Mao, and Lucas here.
Right.
Okay.
So and at that time you guys didn't have an album yet. Recorded
No,
yet?
No.
Shortly after that, we make an album though.
Okay. So
Shortly after that.
how many albums does Effects have recorded, studio wise?
Is it Peter? Is it 5? Let's go. Big things are going.
Big things are going.
Who that?
Yeah, they play Effects Play.
We arrived.
Yeah. Play Effects Play.
Play to explain.
The Hurricane album. 6, man.
Six
Six?
albums.
Yeah,
Oh.
that sounds like 6, yeah.
So the first, as we mentioned before, our strength was the drum machine and the chanting, and eventually we learn how to harmonize and write, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons why we knew we had something with the writing, Peter later, right, in the early years, we were trying to get him to play brass because most people don't know we had brass, right?
Right. Okay.
So Brinsley Charles, Wayne Stenhouse, won brass.
Right.
And Brinsley Charles tried to get Peter later because he and Peter later they are good partners and they go to school together from SMA. And Peter later was there with one of those mechanical sax, not the original sax, but the
it's the wind instrument.
yeah.
Okay.
And Peter later used to help them fellas to write their scores, and because them fellas were going to school for brass, Wayne and Brinsley.
Yeah.
And then Ferdinand eventually joined them after Peter left. So Peter later heard a song we taped. That song, by the way, never come out. But he had a song we taped in the band house. Brinsley bringing for him to hear. And he said, but Brinsley, how are you doing that? And then he tells Brinsley, what? Oh, you just do that last night? And Brinsley telling me, yeah. And that's why you bring it for him, but because Brinsley trying to boast, right? Because Brinsley at the time excited, trying to boast and say, see what you do last night.
Right.
We knew from the get-go when Peter later give us that prop, although Peter later wasn't in Swing Stars yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
We say, So then, for Carnival 93, we end up by Robinson, right?
Right.
Things happen in a kind of funny way. Ken Robinson look at us and tell us, all the fellas just that? I say, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, boss, let me tell you, all you can write. or you can write. So then he said, listen to me, I hear different bands coming inside there. And that time, CK and Serenade used in the studio, and he said,
Yeah,
an RSB, right?
Mhm.
And he said, let me tell you something. If you are just starting, I don't want to see you only get good. So one night, right? One night, we come in for our session, right? But before we go inside, Clint and I coming together, I had to help him to carry stuff. But Smokey and Keith, they're talking to Robinson, right? And Robinson, let me him to listen to what we doing.
Mm-hmm.
That was unprofessional, but at the same time, it is what it is. Because Robinson is my boy, so another thing I think he should do, but it happened. And Keith and Smokey having a conversation and say, boy, I think Keith say, Smokey, I don't think them fellas know how good they are, at that age. So from the time Clinton and I did that, we just know we're gone. Because them time they were looking up to CK like every other man, you understand? Mm-hmm. So you have RSB and CK and Serenade. That's the upper echelon, right? Yeah. Then you have Profanity under them. And Swing Stars is a different kind of situation.
In their own world, yeah.
Yeah, in their
you understand? World. In their own world.
Right. Yeah.
So we're looking up to them bands, right? Mm-hmm. So when we hear that from Keith and Smokey, Clint tell me, Flo, trust me, blows on man. You know Clint does talk. Clint say, blows on man. Trust me. And from that time, we know we can make music.
Yeah. And before you continue, though, as we mentioned, the wind instrument, Al Maturin jumped in on the wind instruments also and was playing. Well, he played the sax,
right?
And after that, he was playing the wind instrument, and that to me, that was making the band big, like a whole big orchestra going on there. With a whole brass section, a young band of a brass section. But apart from even we as individual talents, mm-hmm. Having Jeffrey there as being our senior, the brotherhood involved is the most important thing,
right?
For us, because remember, no matter how much fight we will fight, we will get vexy feel and all kind of thing, but when that never took away from our creative aspect to come together and create music. And like I said, our music was always not compared to anything else you hear in Dominica. You could take a little piece from Sentiment and say, have a little jam band thing in it, lyrically on point, the swings, everything. Everything was clean, but everything had a purpose in there. Yeah. Everything had a purpose. And that's beautiful as far as I can say. That's beautiful.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I can see why Vibes Daddy was the lyricist for Efex Band. He just give us a whole rhyme there and all you missed that, but I catch that. He was on point.
but you know what I'm saying? You say Vibes Daddy, right? Back in the day, people don't know Peter as Vibes Daddy, you know that, right?
So when did he originally get that name? You have a story for that?
If anybody can guess what they used to call Mr. Tell me. Maybe Michael can tell you.
Wait, no, I know. Do you want me to say it, or are you going for them too?
No, he asked us to guess, so if you know, tell us,
Hey,
I know mystery too.
See, but the thing about it, some people, we're seeing that we're here, we're dishing out the broth, right?
Right.
Yeah, we dissected.
Yeah, we dissecting. So if you dissecting, it's not a mosquito. You don't wasting your time.
Yeah.
You dissecting for some reason. Because a mosquito don't have nothing to dissect,
Yeah.
So you dissected some meat there.
Yeah.
So, but when I was younger, I was very troublesome, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, very, very troublesome. I don't like to tell. I don't even think it's troublesome like before. But I was, as a young man, you're all into making your kite, your kabu way, your vibe, running up and down the place. So I have a little trouble with a childhood partner of mine, Ken. They were living right next to Astafans.
Right.
So, but we were in Fields Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what Ken do. And Ken take something and he run, so he passed all by at the front there by Mr. Joey Astafans, and then bend the corner and go at his own. So I run at the man and cause a little problem. So he have a brother, they call him Saba. Or they know Saba, right?
Yeah.
And in Canada, he's in Canada now.
Yeah.
Boy, run inside there, boy, and basically go inside there with the gate and cause him problem. Boy, Saba, watch me and tell me, boy, what happened, boy? It's the devil, man. Yeah. And from there, Saba called me Satan. Saba fucking boss. You can understand. A man can do that. So now, Saba now was playing basketball. Was one of our popular basketball players for that club, Jacob Killerbees.
Right.
Eagles first.
Eagles first, yes. And after Jacob Killerbees.
Yeah.
So I know young man coming up, playing. Obviously, all you do is sports and music,
Right.
That's all you're doing, run around, play sports, and after, so I was all into my basketball. So at a very young age, I ended up jumping into basketball. Jeffrey was more into his football, but we used to play basketball together,
Right.
And I ended up playing with those guys at a young age, 15 years, playing premier basketball and so forth. So the name stayed, because everybody coming now and watch basketball and saying, oh, Mister, they call him that name, so that name stayed, So some people, even to this day, I was talking to a partner of mine, and he told me, Jeffrey James, I go school together with you. He working on forestry.
Greg.
Yeah, Greg, right. Day before yesterday, he told me, but I never liked that name, I never liked that name.
He was just like me.
Yeah. The boy say, I never liked that name. But still, I say, it was just a name, man. But that's the reason why they end up calling me like that.
Yeah.
Because of me.
He ended up answering to that name because of me. I tell him, Peter, because you're in the band right now.
You get that.
You answer. If they call you, you answer.
Yeah. But you see, that's
how people stop,
Right.
Yeah, because because you see, you're checking, you're young, just doing stuff. But when you start to get involved in, before we even see all as being any public figure,
Right.
you just play music and enjoying what you're doing,
Right.
just if you're fun in there. But that's as you were asking about the name. That's how the name come about, and But this name got plenty of history behind it because, I tell you, but because I always learn, man, I used to stand up for myself. So that's why I end up in a problem in the first place. But even with that name, though, I made great friends during those times. Even have friends now from since childhood that, if we pull up and we get together and talk, the experience for growing up at that time, in our time, Jeffrey, going by Macmillan, if I may go there, going by Macmillan, you have the Vienna sausage tin. After you finish, it's either you have two uses for that Vienna sausage tin. It's either you make frozen joys, right? Or you take that and put that in a big tire with 2 pieces of wood. You go by Macmillan, pour oil in the tire, and run in your tire in Roseau. So a lot of kids don't know about that. But that's my thing. I'll cut a piece of hose and make my sec. And but it was just all fun, and that helped us to be the men we are today.
Yeah, Jeffrey,
it was really troublesome for real.
I like the fact that you brought up that, because I used to ask myself, boy, what makes Mr. want to call himself Satan, boy?
Boy, I used to be vexed when Mr. used to answer to that. I tell you, I used to be calling Satan. I come in that place, right, and I ask him for Peter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Who's Satan?
And people tell me, who is that? We don't know who's Peter.
Yeah.
I said, look, Peter there. Oh, you say you mean Satan?
Yeah.
That used to burn me.
Hey, I can only laugh about that now, boy. Yeah, man.
Since we get Satan and all that out of the way,
Yeah,
I have a question to ask now.
Yeah.
And hear that, I go and play a song, and I want all you to tell me, how did it feel to whip both WCK and Serenade on opening day with that song?
Let's go see you.
a flag in your hand. Try to see your one. When the effects man coming down, you want to see them rock city, yeah. Right now, please take your flag and wave it, because this one is the hurricane. Come on, man. Move to the left, hurricane. Move to the right, hurricane. Blow. Move to the left, hurricane. Blow. Move to the right, hurricane. Blow. Cause a hurricane, cause a hurricane, cause a hurricane, cause a
Let me tell you that.
Yeah, that song, yeah.
Let me tell you that. Over this, I gotta give a memory, you know. Them time that I still go in church. My mother and them don't want me to escape. So I have to run down my cousin and them now for me to go watch opening a carnival, man. And the big them days Saturday and CK that is thing. I hear a truck coming down, man, and I hear a thing and I check, what is that for me now, boy? Effects Band. How did it feel to finally get the opportunity to meet the two bands you was looking up to and whip their backside on the road? Honestly.
I feel you want to jump in there?
Yes, you know. You try to play politically correct there, man. That's my question.
No, I mean really good. Novelist will tell you.
But
Since we had that interview coming, novelists know I had that question coming in.
Yeah, well,
Peter and them can answer that question because remember, 3 years in a row, we knocking on the door. We knocking on the door seriously. It was 3 years in a row, no? Because remember, the year before, we had Play Effects Play.
Right.
You understand?
You touch on that, Philo.
Yeah, and then
I was gonna ask along those lines there, yeah.
And then the year before we had when we opened Carnival City, we were the only band on the road. And I think that was that 96 or 95? But anyway, we were knocking on the door really hard.
No, it was 1997. They were in the center of the parade. Sorry, it was at the
yes,
front.
that was the year that song come on. Yeah.
But that was Play Effects
And
Play.
CK was at the back.
Well, that was Play Effects Play. Hurricane was 98.
yeah, Hurricane was 98.
Right.
So in
96.
In 96 we were the only band on the road, if I recall, opening for Carnival City. But 97 was a funny year. Everybody needed to get on the road for 2 reasons, right? CK and Serenade, they were in their back and forth. But I am sure they were aware that we were knocking on their heels. So they needed to publicize their song. So that's how they probably end up being on the road. But them times there, we have a whole ton of children following us. You can ask Markel. We had a lot of children following us. So no matter what them and I do for that opening the carnival, it wasn't going to happen. Because we had the children. Remember, when
you say children, you mean like the college students?
Young, teenagers,
Okay.
even primary school. Because I used to teach SMP. Clint used to teach SMP. We used to teach SMP. 3 teachers in the band.
Nice.
And we always used to be playing for Calypso by there, a song contest by there in Convent Prep. So we well known among them children, right? Even better than the CK, the little children.
Yep.
So you connected to the young people.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to cut anybody off, but Jeffrey keep talking about knocking at the door. For me, Play Effects Play. Children, I call you. Boy, they had no knocking at the door. Yeah, that door done push open already. Yeah, because why? Let me tell you that album, that Play Effects Play album. That was one of my favorite albums from you guys, and I remember that thing Giovanni talking about, that opening when we stand up there, and I can't remember what the first band passed. It was Serenade or whoever, and I remember RSB passing too. And when that Hurricane thing come out, my brother, I don't know where Plastic Chair come out, where they have that Bush thing they're talking about now. Everybody but Bush in the band. Effects Band. When that Hurricane thing come out, man had Bush in the band. And I say to myself, that cannot be Effects Band that passing on the road.
My brother, to be honest with you, when the man hit the Hurricane, right outside that place in Pottersville, that supermarket there, Aiden's.
Aiden's.
Right.
Then in the cuckoo there.
When the man hit that there, my brother. Say they done cross the bridge, RSB just about the bridge side, and them man bend the corner and them man hit that hurricane, my brother. Everybody that was forward reversing.
Right.
I remember that clear as the I check it, but who is that? But effects are there, boy. What? I remember that clear as day. That is something I can never forget.
But even as you guys say that, if you remember, WCK would never pay and doesn't play anybody's song on the road.
True.
Yeah.
WCK doesn't play, and everybody have to realize that may be one of the only bands in Dominica, maybe the only band that maybe doesn't play anybody's song on the radio for Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
WCK push WCK alone.
Yep.
Alone. That's
But
right.
that year,
Yep.
They play it with.
when the play effects may come out, Cornell jump on that like a hot dog.
Yeah.
You understand? With
Yeah.
all its servings,
Yeah.
Cornell jump on that. And
Yeah.
when we were by, what they call the station is to be right in Kennedy Avenue there.
Kennedy
When they're
Avenue.
about to bend the corner to come on Independence Street, I ain't. I say, what? Like, seriously? Cornell actually played that? And it was like, yeah.
The ultimate compliment.
Exactly. And that was the compliment, like, yeah, boss, all you there.
But,
All you
But-
there.
But
but Jeffrey, hold on. No, you see from the Play Effects Play album,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like Novelty said, when all they came out with that album, that was the year. That was the year when all was supposed, all they didn't knock the door, or you kick it open.
Kick it open.
Right.
Kick
That
it open.
fence. In fact, by the time all they came with Hurricane, when all they brought Hurricane, all they just finished mash up the place with Hurricane, or they flatten it. It's like
Yeah,
the
by that
person-
time, yeah.
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 And at that point too, you all were getting pressed a lot. People had now started to become afraid of effects. I
Yeah.
remember that clearly.
Mhm.
Nobody any further questions on that.
It was clear. It was kind of clear in the sense that you see RSB.
I mean, I was just about to say, Jeffrey. we
RSB
can't call
was
him.
in the north was like kings, right?
Right.
Understand that? I don't think people understand that.
Like in the countryside.
Yep.
Listen to me. Anytime you
Old
leave
school.
Roseau and you head north, anywhere north,
RSB.
nobody could beat RSB. Not even CK, my God.
No.
That's how good RSB was in the
Yeah.
north. All right?
Mhm.
When we end up doing a show with Serenade on Purple Turtle, the guy who owned Purple Turtle, somebody told him that he had Peter and I, our mother from Cottage, right? And our family from Cottage, and we are family there. And when he get to find out that Mrs. Deroshin Postmouth is my auntie, Mr. say, hold on, I want to manage all you. Because we had a situation where we could not play on Serenade system. And we had to pay on something Ashton Phillip, by the way, rest in peace, but there's another guy partner that put a confidence in us.
Right.
He had a small little system. Them times they don't have no big system like Supersonics, right?
Mhm.
And then Vincent, the manager of Purple Turtle, he's also a manager trying to get the man to put us on the system, and the man said no. So understand that. I mentioned the RSB because by the time somebody that come there and do the show with us, and Vincent are the managers,
Mhm.
we play in Purple Turtle on a regular.
Right.
All right?
Right.
Nobody else could get a crowd in Portsmouth
Yep.
than RSB.
Mhm.
And then from the time we come there and Vincent say, don't worry, we're going to work that. And we start pulling a crowd in Purple Turtle anywhere we play up in the north. And we're giving RSB the run for the money. These are the kings of the north, understand that? No joke.
Yeah.
I have to admit, there's a side, not to segue, but there's a two-part of RSB interview. The parts that people don't see, and I will tell people now, is RSB gave a lot of props to the Effects Band, and Novelist can
I saw
vouch for
that.
thing.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, and the fact where even after the interview, they were saying that they were always checking you guys like the next band to come out of Dominican
Yeah.
International,
No, but Maximian Kofi told me that. I'll tell you something about Maximilian. One of the reasons why I was hard on them, and Maximilian told me, Jeffrey, doesn't matter whether you're practicing or whether you're playing for half an hour, 5 minutes. Just make sure you always do the good, and don't take no shit from them man in the battles. That's why I told you I was a little worse than Maxime, because he tell me, anytime you decide to play the music, just do it properly, and make sure if you're playing for 5 minutes, do the best 5 minutes. And then Kofi would tell me, hey Jeffrey, he tell me that once, and Kofi is the coolest man ever I know in my life. He doesn't get vexed. He doesn't. He's just the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
Kofi told me, Jeffrey, you and I are the same persons. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I run in this system, I run everything in the band, right? You're doing the same thing. We have to know enough so that just in case anything happens, you can do it. So when he told me that, I started to learn Peter songs too. So Peter used to work DCP, and sometimes you have to work in the night. Right. I could never be caught off guard, right? So I had to prepare. So our RSB is not only one way; it's a two-way thing. We have a lot of respect for RSB, because even when we wanted a system or we needed an amplifier or we needed to practice, we've been practicing them man battles. Right. I had a thing on Facebook not too long ago talking about them man in their prime. Them man basically like kings of the north. They're like gods. A matter of fact, when they leave Dominica and they go outside, they're the biggest Dominica band. Yeah. Let us be for real. That was the case.
I know we may have a few fans that may disagree with
no,
Jeffrey on that. What you're saying,
you will always have people disagreeing with anything. But,
but when they left and go outside, they were the best band. In Dominica, CK were the kings, don't get me wrong. And then for that 1 year, Serenade was the king, right? But outside, it was always RSB.
But if I may say that, Jeffrey, speak up in a while, if I may say that, RSB is one of the bands, or the band, that appeal to every crowd. You don't catch an RSB playing one type of music for you tonight, because Kofi have to come and sing his jams. Yeah. You know, those guys play reggae, that's everything, and that was one of the most versatile bands. WCK years ago, they couldn't play the reggae, but they were more concentrated on playing the boogie part of it, their music. Because really and truly, if I may say that, WCK was a little selfish. Maybe in a good way, because they were promoting their vibe.
Right. Well, actually, it's actually a good way.
Yeah, you know, and when I mean selfish, I don't mean it in a bad way. Selfish that they're pushing their vibe. Right. You know?
Yeah.
But with the RSBs just playing everything. I mean, when you go good times, Effects, RSB, WCK, a lot of people don't know those three bands there used to target steadily inside of the good times playing, you know. Yeah. And even what that really helped, if I may go there, help me in doing and getting more versed in the writing and the production and doing all of that is, I had the good vibes of me tagging up with the great Eric Badwell of Serenade, the Maurice Isles of WCK, and even when I was doing my effects vibe, I was involved in creating music with Partners in Crime. Right. A lot of people don't know that, but yes. So these were the three guys: me, Eric, and Maurice. Now, what we would have done is our albums always used to come out about April, May, because at that time the carnival spirit has died, so we don't interfere with what we're doing, which is our main vibe. So that's when we used to create our albums for. So that's why when people, if I may say, when people hear Partners in Crime, you know, they hear a different type of fusion of everything. Yeah. So that's what that's what really brought everything together. But working with Partners in Crime really gave me the opportunity to work with Eric, because Eric is a super producer. Indeed. A superman when coming to putting lyrics and vocals together. And Maurice was, you know Maurice. Yeah. Once we laid on board, Maurice just bake it and run and make it so sweet and make it sound nice. But even to go back when Jeffrey mentioned about Portsmouth, we did create Hurricane in Portsmouth as a battle. It was a long weekend. So when we used to go Purple and play, we go for the weekend.
Right.
We spend the weekend there, we sleep down there, we get up there, we play football, we jump in the sea, you know. We that's where we stay for the weekend.
Right.
I can remember back in the day, we used to play for empty spot. But we played there like they had 1 million people.
Yes.
Jam was ramming our head. By rhythm was so music playing, man, creating all kind of thing. You will swear they had plenty of people, but there was empty.
Yeah.
So same thing like Jeffrey said when Kofi tell him, you know, when you do anything, do it good, or Maxime, do the thing, do it good.
Yes.
Even though we were playing for an empty hall, we never took it for granted.
You never
So
know
when
your quality.
Right. So when we do met with the others, it was, I mean, we have instances that if Jeffrey want to talk about it, if we don't want to talk about it, we had big gigs with bands in the States come and play in big events. And when it's our time to play,
I was actually going to go there. So.
That story is probably a little later, but
yeah,
the first one thing, right?
I will hold it there, you know, Jeffrey. So
the first one thing is like a learning thing for people to understand. You never know who might pop in and listen, or who probably is somewhere far.
Exactly.
And they might put in a good word for you.
Yeah.
We get a lot of gigs just by playing in NT Hall, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of gigs, you know, my boy. That was probably the best advice Maxime and Kofi ever gave us, you know, my boy.
Wow.
We get a whole bunch of gigs just by deciding, hey, let's enjoy ourselves, man. We on the stage and we kick up and enjoy ourselves and we play the music properly.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
And Peter, and I need to correct Peter when he say about the Bad Wheel and the Morris part. When Peter meshed with Bad Wheel and Morris, that was like in '97. Peter was already a bomb already, you know, my friend. I don't want to talk about it, you know. No, but think about it.
Yeah.
In '97, he was already a bomb. That's the reason why Eric come, because Eric and even Roy, I don't know if Roy will admit that, because I'm not too sure if he will. Eric and Roy used to follow us everywhere we used to play. I'm telling you, my man, that was really no. Eric and Roy were fans of the music and they used to follow us everywhere we play.
Right.
Yeah,
They
like
were fans of
the
you understand? Yeah. And another two fellas that used to follow us was Hurricane and Stumpy. Stumpy used to go trombone.
Right.
And one day, the second album, we were playing the second album, which was Awudat, and we were playing Soaking Wet. I don't know if all the fellas have Soaking Wet there. But when we were playing Soaking Wet, after we finished, Hurricane and Stumpy come to me and tell me, boss, who write that song? I tell him, well, Clint came up with the hook line, Soaking Wet. Peter came up with the lyrical phrasing, but I write all the words. So it was three of us that do it. He tell me, boss, that's the best song I heard from Dominic in a long time. Hurricane and Stumpy telling me that. That was 1994.
Right.
You understand? So
Hold on, Jeffrey.
yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned the name of a song. Tell me if it's this song in particular.
Soaking Wet.
That's it.
Turn it up, CEO. Turn it up.
Look at volume.
Yes, Soaking Wet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Imagine you're a musician, right? And Hurricane and Stumpy coming to you and tell you that.
Right.
That's the ultimate compliment, man. That's in '94. Ultimate compliment. I can never forget that.
Yeah, but
Just like how Peter say CK started to play the Play Takes Play.
Right.
That was an ultimate compliment from Stumpy and Hurricane And Clint, by the way, Clint is a savvy guy, right? And he didn't realize he was savvy, right? Clint was next to me when they were sitting there. Clint said, boy, Jeffrey, you don't realize every time we're playing by either Madash or we're playing Good Times, Hurricane and them always did it. I say, no, he tell me, trust me, them man always come and check us. Yeah. That's how I know. Clint tell me, that's how I know we're doing something good, you know, them man coming and check us.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Because the seniors in the game was paying attention to your sound.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut all you off. You know, I like how you tell all your story. I was gonna say that translates into like when you're touring abroad now. Because you even mentioned you was abroad, Jeffrey, and a couple times maybe the hall would have been empty or something. But would that translate?
No.
Nothing foreign.
Only
in Dominica.
Okay.
In the early years in Dominica, yeah, man. It's like that, you know.
Yeah.
So going to the north countryside of it, that was like you said, that was a hard conquer.
Oh yeah. You don't conquer in post malls and enough like that with RSB. Trust me, RSB had a long-standing relationship with them people in there.
Imagine we even going up to the Caribbean, the Caribbean Reserve, and lock it down.
Right.
In the Caribbean, you know. On a regular, you're talking about regular business out there, you know. Regular, you know. We will go for the day and spend the whole day there. When you know.
Because what you them man mentioned is when they come out foreign, they used to slap with some of them man again.
Sorry, I missed that part. Thank you, see you.
Yeah.
But you know, them are talking about dominating the North, and to me, you know, that is small peanuts to what they actually did later on. Like going places like Madagascar and those other places. I don't think any other DA band that I know of ever.
No Booyah band ever go Madagascar.
Those places, right?
No Booyah band ever go Africa, matter of fact.
So there you go. So that is still small peanuts, right? But
that Madagascar thing is interesting. Mm-hmm. I just want to say thank you to Judas Timothy, Earl Williams. Mm-hmm. We Play-Efex they come out, right?
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we are the hottest thing. If they were giving road match for Bouillon, we don't got the road match that year.
Yeah, man.
All right.
And this guy called me and told me come to his office. Earl Williams, I say okay. I think he calling me for something about teaching, right? So I just go. He tell me if I want to go Madagascar for the Francophone Games, that's the French Olympics, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I say, what is the French Olympics? Why they need music? He tell me, oh, it's a cultural exchange, so they have to bring dancers, they have to bring musicians, and they're looking at a young band. If we're interested,
right.
I say, all right. But he tell me I can only give you 6 tickets. I say, oh. But I have to say yes. I say, okay. So he gave us 6 tickets, and then I had to choose somebody who we could do without, and that was the hardest thing I had to do in my life.
Right.
Griffin was our rhythm guitarist. All right, and because I know Monel can do the rhythm too, and don't have to play lead, I say, well. So then what I did, and I was sorry, right? But what I did to kind of make it go, I tell everybody from the money they were getting for the per diem and stuff, everybody have to put into that pot to give to Griffin.
Right.
And that's how I end up suffering in the blue for Griffin.
Yeah,
but it was a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But when we end up in Madagascar, I heard people talk about I've heard Michael, Ophelia, even Bob talk about when they go in the French countries and how they've been treated. Madagascar used to be under the French.
Right.
Yes.
I can identify with that. Even Gordon mentioned that to me a couple of times. I can identify when people find you interesting and they're treating you like a king.
Right.
When we came the first time, we didn't have the red carpet like a Michelle or Ophelia or Gordon, right? But on the night after we play, boy, if you see the amount of media that are around us,
wow.
Isn't there tons of media, right? And I cannot speak Creole, I can't speak English.
Yeah.
I cannot speak French.
Yeah.
And it's only English I can speak, and then people trying to translate. And nobody else having, Mona can't speak the Creole, but Mona afraid, right? Mona don't want to talk.
Yeah. Right.
And me alone trying to talk that. By the time we finish in the interviews, there were 2 bands end up playing. And then the band that was supposed to come after us was a French band from Montreal.
Right.
And they still, them man go to these organizers and tell them, we cannot play after this band. No, for real.
Yeah.
Them man go, and then the man say, then, I didn't know it was a competition, by the way. And then they also come and say, okay, the band that's supposed to come after from Montreal, they will play 2 bands lower down. They needed to get the crowd down.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were in an auditorium, external auditorium.
Right.
And Mano LeBlanc, he was the thing of the coach of the athletic team.
Yeah.
He and the squad, Joel, Courtney,
Mm-hmm.
them man in the crowd, right? I can see them all.
Yeah, showing James.
When we end up playing we played two songs back to back. It was third song, Bando nous Passe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Go tempo. That track.
Yeah.
And then we end up playing Effects Play.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, man, on them stand up, my God. Because we're playing for 15 minutes, yeah? With a tight 15 minutes, right?
Jeez.
Yeah.
When man on them stand up, we had a few Haitian people that was like us and a couple Lucians, they stand up too.
Right.
Boy, the whole place stand up and people, when you say hands in the air and raving, boy, you mad. I've never had a feeling like that in my whole life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Boy, if you see that crowd,
Nice.
waving, and the crowd like, boy. So I could understand why it was the first time they see a band play that kind of music. So they come and ask us about the type of music.
Mm.
So the next day, all of us home, we're just chilling out. And they bring free newspapers. On every newspaper in the country, we're on the front page.
Wow.
Mash up.
Beautiful achievement. What year was that? Do you remember?
97.
97.
That was all
That's
97.
the experience, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
We mash up. When I tell you mash up, we get a couple gigs after that to play in certain bars, but we didn't charge them fellas.
Right.
Because I think one of them was linked up with Doctors Without Borders, right? So we just did do it for free.
Oh, okay.
Because they were more or less it's for a good cause, you understand?
Yeah.
Right.
But trust me, that was a great experience there. Buoy on the continent.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. I can imagine.
that was a major life change for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody,
The experience was the playing, the whole vibing of the people,
Right.
the culture. It was a major.
But
Major.
was that you guys' first international tour, or you guys have
Yes.
already?
Yes.
That was the first time I left Dominica.
First time with them.
Wow.
Yeah, first time with them, Dominica.
Wow.
And I remember exchanging talk with the Haitians, right?
Mhm.
I thought I knew Haitian culture, but no, I didn't understand Haitian culture. That Francophone Games is a great way. We have a lot of things in that are similar, but a lot of things that are different. But it was a great way to understand the culture of these people and the way they dance.
Mhm.
Because even dance in Haitian, don't think you can dance Haitian like that. You need to understand how to dance because it's a slower pace. It's a whole different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that changed me there too, I can talk for me in that regard. we kind of mix up with Madagascar in terms of the local people, right? And we had a crew of girls following us, right? And one time they took us by a stadium, right?
Mhm.
That's a little bit good of tangent. They took us by a stadium. And I remember the lady name, Holly, the girl name. She told me, look inside there. So when they looked inside there, they were Madagascan people. Most of them darker, very dark, right? Tons of them inside there.
Yeah.
So what happened for the Francophone Games? The place had probably close to maybe 300, 400,000 poor people on the road.
Yeah, that's in the capital, Antananarivo. Yeah.
Yeah, they pick up everybody and they put them in the stadium.
Yeah.
And they have them in the stadium
Right.
so that nobody can see that.
Yeah, they didn't want the world.
That throw me for
Wow.
that
Yeah,
throw
they
me
don't want
for
to-
bus, man. That I tell you,
Yeah.
that was hard. I say, my God.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And if I may say that, it's like they had the Chinese came in maybe about 6 months prior to that, and they built the basketball stadium where we were living there. It's like they turned it into a camp. So you had the Guinea-Bissau people, the Cote d'Ivoire people, all of us in a camp, in a village living. And they take out all these people in the city because Antananarivo, which is the capital, had a whole train system and thing, but because of all the political vibe, there was just in chaos. And I guess the better part of having that games there was for the French to move in and kind of take dominance and take over the place and rebuild it.
Right.
But it was that for me, what Jeffrey says his experience for me, that my taking out of that was like, be grateful for what you have.
Right.
Because we see things that you will only see projected in the news.
Yep.
Poor people, this and that, the way they live, but for you to actually walk and see them and touch them and see it for yourself.
Right.
If you're a human being and you have a heart that does melt you and throw you down clean. Because I can remember the Haitian contingent, guys, that's some girls that was with us there. They come out from families that were well off because they were more on the coast of by Hispaniola side.
Okay.
So their parents had money. And I see some of them they just give the kids the money. You know, just empty out the purse and give to them because until you walk in there and see it for yourself, you may say, yeah, then people living like that, yeah. But when you walk in there and see for yourself, don't complain. You have clean drinking water.
Right.
Which is like, one thing. If you don't have that, you don't have life.
Sure.
We have clean drinking water. We can eat. We have the freedom to go about how we are and do what we want to do. In those places, it haven't got that. And it still had racism down there to begin with because that night we went to the club, Philo. Can remember we went to the club? When you went to the club, you couldn't go where you want.
Oh, wow.
You had to.
Inside
And the only
club?
reason, the only reason we end up going is because we had our tags.
Yeah. And then they know us from the newspaper, right?
From the newspaper, they direct us to the posh area. Everybody else like you go in the La Salle, so to speak, in the old spot there. Yeah. It was sickening, but
in a nightclub.
In a nightclub.
That is crazy.
So when
I
you
can
see
only
them
imagine.
things when you see those things at a young age, and you have to check what we don't have this problem in our country.
True.
It's true we may figure out we need a lot of stuff, but let me tell you something. This is humbling. Yeah.
I'm happy you're humbling me just speaking of the experience and to say once again is music. The style of music, who you are that bring you to that continent there, and you seeing these things without even seeing it from a lens point of view or CNN point of view. I appreciate exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
it had highlights in it too, because we, Jeffrey, and then we had this kind of episode on the tour bus when we came. I think it was to Rias, or when we came to set up. No, Clint is a guy that like to make a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
So whilst we're on the bus, Clint shout out a name from the bus. So everybody was like, what's wrong with Clint now? Clint Bono, Chuno! When you look, the person turned around.
Yeah.
And the person watched, guess who it was? A student Jeffrey and them taught in SMP.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm seriously. Let's hear that. Listen to that,
Yeah.
His father or their family is who was married to the queen or some people of Madagascar.
Yeah.
When you stay in the stadium and you watch up on the hill, you see in a castle, and that's where they were living. We were invited to go there.
Wow.
And we went there, and
they had a party for us, man.
They had a party for us. They had their mask and thing, playing billiards and all kind of thing.
In a castle,
in a castle,
No joking.
Not in a block thing like man put 8 or 6-inch block.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
The Robin Hood,
yeah.
and the Knights boys. No, seriously. When we entered there, guys have their security. Everything is gone. The place is well secured.
Yeah, and have guns on them and everything. Yeah.
But it was amazing, man. We appreciated that. That was crazy.
By the way, you know who's Juno? Juno have a studio in Dublin right now.
Yes, my cousin. Yeah, you have it up Campbell side. He now does music, That boy does music.
Oh, wow.
He does music right now,
Engineering music and stuff, and he's good at it too.
Imagine talking about humility, and this is a question I have wanted to ask. How much has being humble played a role in the success of Effects Band?
Partner, they just talk about a castle where I was humbled, trust me. Every time I hear play effects
Kaza.
play, I will never listen to it the same way again. I
Kaza.
can sure a lot of fans appreciate that.
Kaza, I am going to give you the context to which I asked this question.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Because we have a situation in Dominica where there are a lot of musicians who, some of them just reach New York over there, not too far from where I sit down there now.
Yeah.
A few states across.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
They
sir.
don't do, here where them fellas went to, them man went to Madagascar, my brother. Do you know where that is?
Mm-hmm.
Fellas that just come New York on their first tour and they come in and they play in part like there is the shit. I am asking a question based on this. How much did humility of being humble as members of the band and being given opportunities play into the success of the band? And that is the question.
Okay.
I need some of these young music, because we have young musicians watching us all now, so I need them to hear why you need to mellow down.
Well, I can answer that in a simple way, we had a lot of people helping in the band. So I will never break down people's contribution ever, because the tiniest thing does help you no matter what.
Right.
So you have Hayford. Hayford, that synthesizer is crucial to our development. Eventually he ended up learning the bass because we knew he had a talent, right? So Pascal Matthew helped him to learn the bass. All right. Humility again. Pascal is a teacher with me in SMP.
Right.
He teach him how to play the bass, right? Then you have Clint. Clint had to learn the keyboard from Brinsley. Brinsley was a trumpet guy, but he also knew how to play the keyboard because he was friends with Peter later, and he used to go to school for a little time. So Brinsley Charles, who's one of our original keyboard man, teach Clint how to play the keyboard.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Then you have Monel. When Monel come into the band, Monel will come to play guitar, but he learned them songs on the keyboard. But Monel is from Tarish Field, but Campbell. You're talking about ghetto there.
Right.
All right? Mm-hmm. Peter and I come up from the ghetto in Roseau first before we end up good, right? We are in that little yard in Roseau there.
Right.
You cannot get lower than that. Trust me. We were in a shingle house, 1 bedroom, 4 of us.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 4 children, and 2 parents. Understand that?
Right.
One, and it wasn't in a bedroom. It's just a shit.
Yeah.
And then you have Griffin. He was a tailor from Sansobe.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in that band, and Brinsley probably going to get vexed with me for that. But everybody in that band had a humble beginning, except Brinsley, who had his mother and father. They were athletes and they were well off, not well off enough by our standard, right?
All right.
All of us basically coming from humble beginnings. That's one. Secondly, Peter mentioned something earlier in the beginning about the family camp part of it. We were really, it's not a cliche, right?
Mm-hmm. We
were really family, because the amount of things we go through, not falling, my boy. Banan, you see Banan? I just didn't have the time to get him at the front of the stage when I wanted him to, because at the time he didn't have the confidence. But Banan was there night and day. And if we don't have somebody to drive the truck, Banan is driving the truck.
Wow.
All 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, we coming back and we alone don't have to take out the instruments and put it back. When you go through grind like that, right, you see things differently and you appreciate things differently. So when we go to Madagascar, it was pure fun as a little gift. Hey, we have been working hard, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't make anything get longer for us, I don't want to say the real word, but
Right.
it didn't make anything get longer for us or make us feel, because the point is, we were accustomed with so much grind that we were not going to take anything to make it blow up our head. And then the last point on that, more importantly, we had good mentors. Remember I told you about Maximian Kofi, right?
Right.
Well, you kind of get more humble than that. Understand that? So we already had things. So we know Maximilian used to be traveling all over North America, even England.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I never see the man get so big up like they don't do their shit not stinking.
that's true.
So I mean that's what we saw, right?
Right.
But
So-
did you all have the pleasure of being on tour with either of those premier bands that came before you?
Yes.
Cause I don't know what a question he really asked there, you know. But
Listen,
Yeah.
listen.
Kazan, you heard them man talk about slapping with them man earlier on.
That is
Never get
Dissect.
no,
And I love this
no.
story. Listen, I have no part of effects I do like. I personally as a DJ has always appreciated Vibes Daddy, just as I would appreciate Eric
That's me,
Bagulo.
guys.
Certain people in the eras. I can ask because I think to a lot of people tonight,
Mm.
this is the first time you're actually hearing effects story from the roots.
Yeah.
You know, you
And
can
it-
say one, say two. You could hear the music. You could have know of them from DA. But
yeah.
I think this is the first time tonight you're actually getting a story from the foundation of where they started
Yeah.
and who they really are now.
And even when, as Jeffrey, we don't, let me just jump in quickly. As Jeffrey talked about the whole thing about being humble, I can remember being on a tour with Dissect-Efex Band in crime. We had to play WCK. And whilst walking through the crowd, I was with my other brother, my adopted brother, Algan, going to the bar getting a drink. So we met some people there. It was a friend of mine, John L, and some other friend of us from an Easy Dog girl from Mao, and some other friends. So we were talking and so, laughing. So when it was our turn to play, I was climbing up the side stage, going up just to make sure everything in order. That's some people on the side, they say, pointing and telling me, "You mean you that singing them songs there?" No, so you know what that meant? I am never, even when I was involved in effects being on the drums, because if I can, let me go back there for a second. Even when I remember there was a transition, right? I was playing the drums, then I had to come up from the drums. So when Clement Corriette, he was at the time the manager of the group, moving along with us, promoter, and with Jeffrey, that was made. Point was made that, hey, Peter cannot be playing the drums and singing. So we need now to bring Peter up front together with Jeffrey. But now we needed to get a drummer. And the most perfect man that fell into place, and to me was one of the baddest drummers in Dominica for a long time, was Erwin Bertrand Bongos from Maho. He now plays with Cool Session Brass.
Right.
So he toured with us in Madagascar. True, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
He was there with us in Madagascar as well. And so to go back to the people and them watching me on stage, it's all a thing about not just it have people now before they start to play an instrument, they start to do something. They think they're bigger than the music. They think they're bigger than the music. When they walk into the place, everybody have to know they are not. That was never my stuff, and it will never be up to this day. Like Jeffrey does get upset sometimes because he told me, back then, you have to make people know all the hits they're jumping up to there from the WCK, they love there. And then big tunes. It's you that doing it.
Yes.
I
We
was
have to let them know.
That's something like Jeffrey.
But, yeah, because
true.
he know I'm not that person to be on blast, talking about all those things. Like for Buyo, everybody, that's another story by itself altogether. People talking about this thing. That, that's not me. I just come to do the work.
Right.
Yeah, we're not
understand?
shy, We're not shy on Dissect,
Not shy.
Vibes Daddy. A lot
You
of
understand?
people, if you don't know outside there, I don't put in Vibes Daddy on
Hold-
blast.
hold on,
767.
Right.
Wait.
Okay,
So wait,
okay. They
Vibes
say
Daddy-
Kaza
God.
wait.
But I
I
can
should go
answer
on mute. I should go on mute. Yes, sir.
I can answer the question partially if you want. I'll answer it
In
partially.
the studio already with CK, remember that Vibes Daddy?
yeah.
Exactly. It have people that don't even know I work on the CK stuff too.
Yeah,
I don't make no big deal of it.
yeah, but people, that's the whole thing about the whole thing about the being humble and helping to bring you up at the stage you are right now.
Right.
Humble, humility works and it always will. Because the thing about it is, like Jeffrey was saying prior, when we play into an empty hall, you have to do it well because you never know who's watching.
Sure.
You understand? When we go on tour, even though we went to Texas or when we went to Detroit and St. Croix and all these places there.
Mm-hmm.
After you finish play, the people come and talk to you. They're like, wow, you guys are so like, you're so calm and, because usually some music people, they always say hype.
And they have attitude and they don't want to talk
and have attitude,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they're speaking out of turn and just out of everything that is a negative light towards the promoter.
Mm-hmm.
Up to this day, after 20 plus years, there are promoters that we can pick up our phone and say, hey, we got some stuff going on, and they say, okay guys, what do you want?
Right.
That's the kind of level of respect that, we always showed and was showed to us, and the respect.
Right.
Yeah. So out of the humility, yes.
I go to answer that question partially for you.
No, Jeffrey, I know you waited, so you can see.
I don't
waited.
answer it fully because for a number of reasons, but I'll answer it partially, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, it's Dissect.
The first time the band came to the States, I was in the States.
Yeah.
All right. No, actually, was that the first? Yeah, as a band.
Yeah, that's when they play
because the band played with Gramax and Partners in Crime the year before, and I decided the band needs to come up just as the band, right?
Mm-hmm. So we're talking.
So
when we say come up, we're talking about New York without cutting you off.
New York,
yes.
right?
New York, okay.
New York. So 98 for what do you call that?
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving, Gramax, Effects, Partners in Crime have a show. All right, that was promoted by Zed. I was involved also, and I got my mother to put up some money too while we were doing that show. But the next year, I decided let's do a thing. So the next year, I tell them fellas, all you should come up. Clint said, you know what? Don't worry about his ticket because he's coming up on a CK ticket. But everybody else, we end up booking on the scene. There is somebody I need to mention. He and his partner. And his partner in crime in terms of his business partner died last year in COVID. As it started, they had a COVID party. It's a sad situation, and it's somebody that needed to get interviewed. His name was Tess. He had Tess Otto, right?
Yeah.
And then there was Stan, his partner, his business partner. They died probably a week or 2 weeks apart of each other.
Yeah, sad, very sad.
Tess was tight with my adopted father, right? Neville Defoe, the one that died there. And Tess always used to play our music in Brooklyn, in his store, and he used to sell the cassettes, right? So the first time he met me when I come up for school, he put in my head about trying to bring up the band, and he would use the band. So we had, because I was involved with Foster and Foster barbecues on the Friday night, I knew we had about 2 gigs for sure, and then eventually we get other gigs. But Tess, right? We end up playing on Sunday. After the Friday night, we mash up, the band mash up by Foster. People, I tell you, people in all kind of things. And mark you, that's just after, what's his name? Ashton. That's probably the year or 2 years after Ashton died.
Ashton passed, yeah.
Yeah, Ashton passed. So we mash up by Foster, and then we go. Tess say he want to play. We want us to play in his yearly barbecue he having in his shop. He has a car shop. He's a dealership, right? So you open in the yard, you put in the car outside, and then he has a big shop, So that's supposed to start at 5. Show start at 5. We play. So at 9 o'clock, people still coming. 1 more hour to go.
Right.
Tess come and tell me, we cannot stop now. I have a license to go all 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, Tess, I gave Exodus my word that the band will be there to play at 11 o'clock. Them man have to stop at 10.
Right.
Tess warned me, right? That's crucial advice, right? He tell me, Jeffrey, do you know who you're going to be playing for? I said, what you mean? He said, do you know them guys and promoters? Them fellas, not easy, they're up to something. And then he leave it as that. I say, Tess, I'm a man of my word. First time in my life, I regret not going against my word and not listening to the guy. So people come here, and if you see the road outside in Brooklyn, all right, The DJ playing, the place packed inside and in the yard, and outside, people there and they come and see the band because they hear how we play on the Friday night, and people spread the word, right?
Right.
I tell them, man, go ahead, I'll pack up everything. So I reach in the Bronx, and here comes Hayford, and Monel run towards me. And Monel and Hayford saying, Philo, fix that fucking shit, bro. Fix that shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
But that's what he was saying, right?
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Monel said, oh, if you see I get vexed, I'll knock out a man in the wall. I said, but hey, calm down, take it easy, what's going on? The man tell me, the promoter, and I'm going to mention the promoter name, he was part of Exodus group.
Right.
Fix Troy. Told them to get off the stage. I said, why? They said, they don't know. I said, no, go back on stage, let's go.
Right.
While I come in, and I'm heading towards the stage, I meet Paul Philip, who was part of Exodus. You tell me, Jeffrey, what's going on? Why the man making noise like that? I say, I don't know, but they telling me that they actually told them not to come off the stage. He tell me, okay, go and check it, but he have to check the door, right? He's checking the door. Now, Paul Philip is Dave Philip brother. Dave Philip is my partner in Dominica. I live in the same lane. So they've figured everything all right? As I reach close to the stage, Colonel look at me and Colonel tell me, okay, Jeffrey, I seen that look. I'm not involved. So I think in my mind, why are you saying he's not involved?
Right.
You understand?
Right.
He said he's not involved. So then when I go on the stage, he tell me, boy, I heard somebody say, and I'm not going to mention the person name, no, right now.
Right.
I heard somebody say they were going to get Fiction not to make us play, and we're not going to play that tonight. I say, who is that? Tell me the guy's name. I say, but that guy can't make a decision. No, remember that guy is another guy in another band. Huh?
Another band, right?
That's all I can tell you.
Right.
Serenade there too. RSB wasn't there. So, because if RSB was there, I can guarantee you that not happening. I almost know that would never happen because Kofi and them wouldn't stand for that.
Right.
So then I say, I don't worry about that guy. I ran towards Fixture. When I ran towards Fixture, he jumped over and run at the back where they come in the morning, right?
Right.
So Paul and security came and they tried to hold me up. I said, boss, if you don't make them and go back on stage, I will. I started to send out some profanities.
Right.
I said, you better make my fellas go on stage. I don't know, what is your problem? No, this guy had a deal he make with one of the members of CK Band.
Right.
And they decided we cannot play. No, the reason why we cannot play, it's obvious. Remember, we're in Brooklyn. A lot of people go to Brooklyn, and they still think we're going to be in Brooklyn.
Right.
We were there on Friday night, right?
Right.
When we come up to the Bronx, some people follow us to the Bronx and the outside because they realize, okay, the band finished, they have to play another gig. So, Fix Troy end up telling the band they cannot play. And everybody, remember them fellas hype now, yeah? Because remember, that's our third gig and fellas hype.
Right.
And everybody disappointed. And Clint just there. But Clint cannot talk too much because he on CK bill.
Right.
Because he didn't buy his ticket to come up, right?
Right.
So, Fix Troy decided not coming out. Security have me, and they say I cannot go inside there. So them fellas come and pull me. Monel and Hayford come and pull me and tell me, Philo, come, let's go, bro. Let's go. Now, mark you, the white guy, there was a white guy I hired to play for us.
Right.
He was the one playing the drums. He played all of them other gigs. People never see a white boy. And you can ask Maxime because Maxime we had used him for Partners in Crime the year before. And Maxime said, first white man he can trust playing his music. So the white guy come and check me and tell me, Jeffrey, it is what it is. Come, let's go. And I went out. As I went out, a group of fellas from Maho and St. Joe burst the door. I don't know why. It's when I could get closer to the door, they say the amount of people that are inside there, they were not supposed to be inside there. And the fire station people come and they shut down the jam, and the Mao fellas and senior fellas vex.
Right.
So I said, imagine that, huh? You see how things kind of funny, right? Somebody trying to do another person bad, and next thing, nobody end up playing in the jam.
Wow.
Jam shut down.
Yeah.
Now, everybody during the political time, when you had little politics, only RSB alone that wasn't really involved in the politics, but all other bands had a little beef with each other, right?
Right.
It's competition. But we in the international community, we come and do a gig together. You have other foreign people there, you know, because remember, when RSB used to play, you saw have other people, even RCK, you saw have other people from Lucia there.
Right.
You check St. Vincent there, you know,
Yeah.
in New York. And then you're trying to prevent the young guns from coming on stage.
Yeah.
And the next thing, none of us end up playing in the jam.
Wow.
Yeah, but just to pitch in there. Let me tell you something. The only reason why those guys didn't want us to play, because boy, we come with Russian bombs and all. Let me tell you, that night, destroy. Let me tell you, we came programmed to destroy all bands that was in that place.
Right.
After we finished playing, they didn't have nothing else to talk about. They wouldn't even play again because
Coming
they
up
hype.
performance set.
Let me tell you, our mindset and that chip on our shoulder, because we know we have to meet them outside.
Right.
That's our whole thing, you know, to meet them outside.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in Dominic, everybody have different, but we want to meet
Yeah,
them where they can
yeah.
be judged properly.
Yes. Yes.
And we're about
No
to,
biasness.
let me tell you something. We was about to throw some balls. That happened. I say, you see that?
That's right.
After one thing is another. But it's not a good experience, nonetheless.
Right.
You know, you learn to deal with other people and, you know, don't leave what you have and just jump. You know, that's
Exactly. And that is the important part. Because
the
Tess,
rest in Brooklyn and play and finish it out.
you know what? Tess told me that. Tess told me, you don't.
Yeah.
So up to this year, right, I was talking about him and I said, you think this guy knew something, but maybe they told him something? Because you know them guys, he tell me, listen to me. You know who you're going to play for, boy. Be careful.
Yeah.
So he must have heard something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I go on the fact that I know Paul and I know Irvin a little bit, and them fellas will never do that.
Right.
But them fellas taking care of different departments, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But them are their allegiance to a certain band already. You know, it's their people, and they'll make sure those guys get paid.
All right.
You
Of
know,
course.
everything else comes after. But their band had, and everybody knew who was their band. But you know, like I tell you, we were ready to roll. I mean, every day we were coming hard.
Remember we mash up Queens and we mash up Brooklyn, you know.
Yes.
Understand that?
Yes.
Yeah, fire.
You understand?
We were coming,
Once
boss.
they get slapped away, so they were scared. So they rather make under table deal. That what happened.
Boy,
Yeah.
That man know what was coming. At the end of the day, right? But at the end of the day,
So-
I thought, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, looking at it, just listening to the story now, those guys and those promoters deserve to get some hard call-out, because when you see people, that is not something you do to your own brother. I don't care who is your favorite band. I don't care what happened. That is something you just don't do to your own.
I
Because,
think it's for broader conversation.
but
Yeah.
no, but it's true though. It's a broader conversation. But I'm honestly, I wasn't even there, and I don't appreciate what they did to
Yeah.
FX Band. I'm sorry,
Alright.
and I'm just saying it, and I wasn't there. That is the first time I'm actually hearing this story, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that is just some BS.
Well, we try to keep it on the ropes for a number of reasons, though, because remember, Clint started to work with them man too, right?
exactly.
And then Peter eventually started to work with them man and write songs for them in the background, right? So, but I was always, it was a personal thing in my heart, although I tell you straight, right now, the people that were involved, I forget them for a while now, but it used to burn me for years, you
For a
know.
long time, right?
Well, is your native
Yeah.
brethren, you know,
Yeah.
your native countryman. So
Yeah.
I definitely can understand the frustration that would come out of that, for sure.
Yeah, of course, it's one thing not to get along, or I wouldn't even say not get along, but you know, to do something in your in your own community or your own country, it's competition against each other every time you meet. And to go out together and still competing is like, no, we out together. Let's compete, yes. But we're competing in a sense that we're going to show the world. Yeah. Like, no matter which band it is from that island, we can mash up.
The competition should be left to let the fans and them decide who has played the best song at whichever segment that night. But we representing the overall, you know?
You know, but if you sometimes you like, you know, them young people like to say, like, you know, DA not a real place.
Yeah.
So that's what they say now, you know. But you know, that's just the saying. But even to say though that even when we tour, because most of the time, if Partners in Crime goes on a tour, really and truly, it's Effects that goes on the tour. Same band members.
More or less.
You know, more or less. Yeah. So we go to St. Lucia a year and we play the Burning Flames. Back to back. Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Friday we were in on the other side Sophia. And the Saturday was a big jam in the Gans. That is the big stuff they put up there.
Right.
And it was a Pentecost weekend. And let me tell you, both nights, place over full, can't take more. And we and Burning Flames going at it until a time. One, I think it was we and them like on stage together, having fun, enjoying this thing, man. And you mean to tell me our own guys when we perform in live, it's like it's attention. Music is about love.
Yep.
It's freedom of expression.
Yep.
You understand? So guys should still work. But the thing about it, I still think that a lot of the people that involved in the music now still don't even understand what it is to be involved in that.
Right.
They still don't understand, because if they did, you have more coming together.
Oh yes.
More, but because
you cherish it more.
you try to shape each other. Where you lack in, I bring you in. I have a lot of people, younger guys, that meet me up to this day and talk music and about how to go about, you know, crafting certain things based on what they heard before I did.
Right.
And they want to do that. Like a lot of people tell me that the guys now doing you know, how they call it, the party mix and stuff. I mean, I listen to them.
Yeah.
To the songs. There's a lot of things that can change. Because you know, music is a thing that evolves. You know, you add new elements, you add new stuff, but you keep your base.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
For it to, that's the only way you know it's yours, you know. You can't change everything.
True.
You have to keep something in there.
Right.
So with all that being said, is the whole thing about the guys coming together, we the musicians, not guys alone, ladies also. Because there were many workshops that were held. I was blessed to be in a lot of them, especially the songwriting and creativity. I had to get a chance to work with this guy, Stuart Young. He was one of the engineers I work with, Prince in Canada, on Metalworks.
Okay.
I got a chance to meet Mr. face to face, you know, and just discuss. And so, when we can come together and work to improve that product, it's then we can see something moving. We can't be fighting and saying, you know, and that thing, like I said, Jeffrey was saying, that thing stemmed from a long time, you know, that thing is not now that thing started.
Yeah.
But the people of them that was involved in it a long time never really said, well, you know something, we need to do better.
Right.
Because even up to this day, even though a lot of them not active, but they still have influence.
Yeah, of course.
And they will influence against and not for.
Right.
And that's a problem. We need to fix that. You know, we need to fix that, because you won't be around forever, but you need to put a stamp in it to say, well, hey, let me tell you, you see those guys there, you see that guy, you see Novelist are instrumental in making things happen, and it working. You know. Right. But unless if you want to see your name mentioned in them kind of sentences there, you know, what we're gonna do? But we still have to keep it moving. The train have to keep moving. You can't stop.
Of course.
You know, who don't want to work, you throw them overboard and we keep rolling. No, but let me tell you something. As we go in there, a guy asked me a question. Why do you think Noah built the ark for animals alone? And I leave it there.
This is Dissect, ladies and gentlemen. East to west, north to south. This is Dissect tonight.
You see that? I have one more question to ask, and I think I good way. One more question to ask.
Yo, Human beings too difficult to deal
Yeah,
with.
no, for that's boy.
For real.
We're different. We're
Boy.
different breed, you know.
Boy.
Good,
Oh, we
boy.
can play, but you know, you can still.
And on that same note, with when Peter was just talking about the coming together,
Right.
you know the good thing about having a band instead of having one artist, you are forced to accept people's bad side or their
Right.
whatever they're not good at,
Right.
Personality.
and whatever that probably getting you whatever. You know, some people it does irritate you in kind of a way. So you're forced to accept that, and then you appreciate the good, right?
Right.
Yeah,
But when you have fellas, which is a good thing to a certain extent, working on their own, and then a man send them a thing and they're working on their own. Just the collaboration they're talking about there, I remember calling DBS once when they had a Booyah Day. And I tell them fellas, what is collaboration now? Because I don't think all you understand what is a collab. And as a guy named, his name is some DJ Rice Man. He call and say that partner that called, they don't know what you're talking about because more than before, you have fellas doing songs together and blah, blah, blah. And I said, listen to me. You don't understand why it's a collaboration.
Right.
You know Shaggy was supposed to do a song with Rihanna. And Rihanna
Yeah, I
wants
heard that
Shaggy.
story.
Rihanna wants Shaggy to send the beat to her so that she can deliver it in wherever she is and send it back. And Shaggy said, no. We working together.
Right.
I need to vibe with you.
Yep.
right.
Even with let's say you're in the studio and you poem, I need to smell that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to know if you're
You have to understand collaboration.
Right.
Yeah.
Collaboration is not because you send me a thing on the no. Sometimes and with all the music in Dominica right now, one of the biggest problems we have is that we hardly have bands anymore. We have artists,
Sure.
and then we have one set of musicians backing up the same artists, and everybody's singing the same way. The reason why RSB, Serenade, CK, Effects, I can mention Ceramics, I can go to Rough and Ready,
Yes.
Sarah.
Watson Warriors, I can go to even that band from Cassie Bruce, I can't remember the name right now. Lucas in Trafalgar.
Lucas. Yeah.
You understand? Everybody sounded different. No, not to say that we didn't sound Creole, you know, but everybody sounded Creole in their own
In a
way.
different
Only,
way.
yeah.
Because in Dominica, Creole is all over the country, and each community is speaking Creole differently.
Yes. Yes.
So the Booyah will sound slightly different if you explain it, because we have our influences just like Siki have the influences.
Yeah,
But what I'm saying is that the whole vibe of the collaboration, the band part of it, and the creativity part of it. Because when you're in a band, a man going to say, no boy, I don't like that one, we play that one, and we're going to try it.
Right.
And then you're going to say, you know what Hayford was saying was true, you know.
Right.
I can give you multiple examples of that, and we don't talk about Hayford much as a creative partner, but he's a very creative partner.
very, very creative.
A lot of the beats Clint used to make wasn't Clint only, you know. Hayford was a big part to do that too.
Right.
He was a bass man, but he's a programmer also. People don't know he's a programmer.
Yeah,
Mornell, I can tell you straight, very creative guy. Any song you heard Mornell singing, he used to write it himself. He used to come and arrange it himself.
yeah,
But we don't hear much about that, right?
Right.
yeah. But
Sure.
even as we talk about before about the influences in the music, Mornell or even Effects was the only group, and even up to this day, the only group that played serious emphasis on the rhythm section of the guitar. Mornell used to layer his guitars a lot. If you hear Mornell play, you hear him play one thing, but at the top of it, you hear the
Right.
see the compliment there. Mornell, we had that vibe, and people really like the rhythm and thing, but the formation of the music was just something that we really used to take our time to make sure when we crafted, we so critical of our own selves.
Right.
Boy, let me tell you, we do a song that we finish it for tune, boy, do good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do better than that way.
Yeah.
But we know it go already. So the next time we come, like for instance, one of the biggest songs to me, apart from that soca tune we have so many, so forgive me.
Boy,
Yeah,
a
so
lot of tunes.
yeah. So this song Time,
Right.
One of these days I sat down and I was listening to Time Again.
Oh, I love that.
And I said to myself, that's why many people said that the band was way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
The music and the lyrical formation in that song,
or the storyline
of that song is what you are witnessing, and you can play it to against any situation in society right now. Easily.
Yeah.
And people that are into lyrical formation and studying the art form like that, if you go on, you will. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that.
Right.
You know, they come and drop a beat, they do a thing and that. And one of the problems we have is the musicians that are coming in now, they are not taught properly how to put melodies and music together and what makes a hit.
Sure.
You know, because I have a situation right now. I'm trying to do something and I send a voice note to a guy I consider to be he's good, but he have to do things in 3 1/4 note, and there's a problem because he like his 4 chords.
Yeah.
So you see, as a musician trying to create music, you have to open your ears to all genres of music out there in this world.
Facts.
But part of the problem, Peter, if I should cut in there, part of the problem with Peter, okay, this is what I'm going to say. Peter, I've been writing for a few people, right? And it's only up to when he wrote 767 for CK that he ended up writing it for them. What I mean by that is, have his style,
right?
And we used to have a style of an off-timing style, but it in time,
right?
But not much people can do it because we had words like tongue-biting words,
right?
Yeah, and not much people can sing it, right? But up to that time, when Peter was writing, I can guarantee you, anytime anybody from Sherian to wherever he was writing for, I think he wrote a couple of verses for Nai too. It had to be a situation where they had to take time to learn it. But when 767 came, it's like, okay, you understand how to write for people now to make it simpler.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
The 767, in terms of the way Peter writes, that is the simplest I've seen him write. I tell you straight. So if you go back and listen to music, I'm gonna make a joke there. If you listen to I Miss You, that's times when my boy had his go well, right? He had a go well.
Right.
He had his go well with his girl and what. That's what really no. That's no joke.
Yeah. That's where that came from.
Yeah. So since after that song, he write time to, and he write a few other go well songs, but he ended up becoming good at it.
Right.
But not much people can end up writing and having to write for people in that sense, the type of music, right?
Sure. Sure.
You have to know what people like. And then the other point he was talking about, I will go against that point of his in terms of the melodies, even though he's right. But I'm going to give an example. How many bands are there in Dominica? Not much. No. So since after basically Eric leave Serenade, as we go to Chicago and then they break up, all right? I leave Effects and afterwards Effects break up, all right? And then who again we had that breakup? We have a couple other things that happened. Rough and Ready go for the little thing.
Yeah.
All right? So you had a whole bunch of bands between 1997 and 2000 that break up, right?
Right.
Now, how many examples the kids have to look at? Not much.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But my thing is though, without the groups per se, but we are the individuals involved in the music. I don't think we are not giving back enough to that, to the music industry. There's a lot of talk going on, and we're not giving back enough. I mean, I'm putting it on myself also. If people meet me in a forum and talking to me, yes, I'll give my 5 cents and my 2 cents and tell them why it works. But for we having a forum to discuss the way forward and how to formulate the right things to sell, because at the end of the day, you're not making music for yourself.
True.
You're making music for an audience, and that's one of the biggest problems those guys have. Or these new songwriters and the the creators they think they're making song for themselves to watch themselves in the mirror.
Right.
But that cannot work, and it will not work. So we have to take some
but
time.
They don't have anybody to criticize the thing because But Peter, I guess what I want to say in connection with that is, okay, I was speaking to Refuse, right? I also spoke to Robinson and I spoke to McMurray. And there's some others I spoke to. But in particular, Robinson and Refuse told me they don't want to push yourself. It had once, Refuse tell me, there's a bassman in one of those current bands right now. You tell him, hey, come and check me, I'll show you some stuff, right? Because he has potential. The partner didn't show up, right? So then he don't want to push himself, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I've heard that before. Because people thinking like, oh, them fellas are in the old era, and the respect not there. So, just to give a serious plug to Dissect here. In addition to Dissect and some other, like, I do a documentary to try to document certain things.
Right.
Nice.
That's a way for people to find out. Because I've seen people watch certain people like either Hurricane or so there's somebody not too long ago that somebody watched and I say, but you don't know who's that man, and they did not know that person make that song. Because right now, back then we didn't have ways of documenting except through the cassette or the CD, right?
Right.
People couldn't see themselves on TV.
That's very true. That's very true.
Right now it's a form of documenting the whole vibe, right? But then when you see it, then things can change in that way, because then you're not forcing yourself, unless if you decide, hey fellas, because most times if money not talking, fellas don't really want to come and listen to you. You know that, right?
True.
Yeah. I understand. I'm careful, but I like I said, I'm starting from me. I'm not going to throw myself out. I throw myself in the pit there as well, because a lot of people don't know that. Okay, you love your Big Bamboo, you love your Sweet Liquor 16, you love all their hits from Partners in Crime, but yeah, that was me writing.
Big Fat Man.
I was going to ask you to give us a little bit of your discography. Honestly,
since we're on that, I know you wrote for man, you wrote for everybody.
No, I cannot.
Partners in Crime.
Hold on.
You heard from Partners in Crime.
Yeah.
WCK. Obviously, Efex Band.
Right.
Is there any other band that we're missing?
Or artists? Or Calypsonian?
No, I don't venture into the Calypso yet, which I think I want to do. But I did some for Fanatic.
Nice,
yeah, I did a song for Fanatic a couple of years ago. As we on Fanatic, there, let me big up Carlin. Let me big up also DDL. DDL from Kinfield. Lyndon and Terrell.
Right.
Yeah. Big up them boys there. And I did some work with behind the scenes, not fully. With just in conversation and passing a few other groups.
Oh, okay. Right.
But like I said, I threw myself in there to be the first one to throw myself in, to come in and help. Because when you sit down, even though music is it have to, evolve. When you sit down and dissect the past music from this here music, you can see the vast difference.
Oh yes.
You can see the vast difference lyrically, even in the rhythm section, because rhythm's going all over the places now. And in our times we have to learn that music, like everything else, is about frequencies. You cannot throw any tune, any beat, any iron anywhere.
Right.
And that's what it has to make sense. It has to complement what's going on. Yeah. And a lot of people using that now as a gateway to get away from the creativity of the writing and pasting words together.
Right.
So they put a whole set of beats in there to throw you off. But at the end of the day, a beat is not a song.
True.
A beat is not a song. Without lyrical, unless if you're doing an instrumental.
Right.
But without the vocals on there sitting down and making sense, it's not completed yet.
Right.
So the guys need to take a serious, look at their writing skills, do the research. If you don't want to talk to people that already done it and still doing it, you can go online and do your thing. Anybody, if guys know already, I can walk in any band house in anywhere, and I'm welcome. Oh, like yes, I did some work for Serenade. Sorry about that. Serenade was the last band.
Okay.
Yeah. So to go in there and do some work and do what has to be done. But like I was saying, the Partners in Crime did that. Humble. That helped me even further to improve improve more dealing with the effects, because as you know, effects is where my engine rolling.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
Partners in Crime was just to take my and the WCK and make it something different.
Right.
So you see, I was involved in those two things, and every time I do it was different because I understand what I was involved in.
Right.
Now coming back to the WCK with the 767, when I did that song, as a matter of fact, I was on vacation, and they told me they were looking for something. So I say, okay, you know what? When I came down, my whole thing was, hey, when we played in Detroit that year, there was a band called Code 868, which is the area code for Trinidad.
Right.
868. So that's the name of the band. So I was thinking, I say, boy, we need something to represent Dominica in that genre, that when you hear it, you know that is us. I say, shit, 767, let me work it out. So my whole vibe behind that song was to not only deliver the song as a complete product, but also to highlight each of the three vocalists in WCK to take a part and appeal to their part, because all of them have their following. Remember that. You know, every vocalist have their favorite, they have their crowd, even though they're in the same group. So when the three of them marry, it was like crazy. First of all, that song was retired on that Caribbean song streaming thing. Was the guy from St. Croix? I can't remember the name. You know, that song was retired there over and over until they take it out on the charts.
Right.
Because that song was just that big, and nobody knew it's me that did. Nobody knew it was me that did it. No, I mean WCK guys never, you know, be on radio saying it's me that do that. No, nobody knew, because that was.
I need to say something about that, you know, and it's not like I tried to cause trouble, yeah.
No, hold on, Jeffrey. Before you go ahead, let me just finish.
I don't want to be politically correct there. The thing is,
hold on, Philo, hold on.
All of us are aware of Mac Murray, right? All of us are aware of Mac Murray, and all of us know that if a man contributes to a song, whether it's a verse, whether it's a chorus, or whether it's a regular song, you have to give him props.
Truth.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Truth.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing.
I don't understand why them guys just do that.
That's the thing in Dominica. These things, you get a few people that will do it, and some will not. But like I say, I'm not bothered by all of that. Yeah. But like I was saying, my whole focus was to, when the song was done, is to get it done in that way. Even like Dio Bama, I Love Bouillon. That's my song. That yeah, that's my song too. So my whole thing was to capture this whole, you know, you see the Guadeloupe have that hook up with band. Right. You know, that big, when they roll in, you know, so you need something to catch on, but that was because of our Charlie Bell kind of vibes, because that is what our cultural thing. That was, you know, I love you. So that was my vibe. But the whole thing about writing it and coming up with the ideas, because when you're dealing with a particular lead singer, you know, you have to do it for them. Right. Like Jeffrey said before, I would have done it in a way that it had to bring out, okay, it's me and I was writing. Yeah. But now, because of the lead singer has to go and portray that song, and every time they sing that, you know, it's them. You know, you have to craft it around them and what they can do, but also push them also to, you know, to get over their comfort zone and move, because you see, like Chum Nada is a bad guy. Big up Chum. Dude. Chum, let me tell you. MFR. Chum is a guy, right? I listen to a lot of rock music too. And Chum is a rock guy. All his style of putting on his vocals and the way he does it is about the rock vibe. He has that rock vibe in him. And it sets him apart from the others. I tell you in the street, he's a bad man. Nobody doesn't want to give Chum respect. Trust me. But I, being a writer, I tell you, Chum is a bad individual. Yep. You understand? He quiet on radio, you know, but give him something to spit on, and he put any and everybody in shade. You understand?
Yeah, I used to love him without to tell the truth.
You see, Skinny in a whole different bracket by himself. Oh yes. You know, Skinny should be dealt with like a king, because Skinny sent a lot of guys. Even now, you seeing Lovelace, I don't let me go there, man. Don't let me go there, Lovey. You know, Skinny is a man that send man and fix themselves and know man is top of the game.
Yep.
Because Skinny send them and work.
Yep.
But we don't have no love for Skinny like that, though.
True.
Skinny send guys, the bungees and them to work.
Yep.
Because face to face on a stage, one-on-one, Skinny
Man,
bury any
Beanie
one
Man,
of them.
Bungee Garland. Yep.
All of them.
Yep.
But our people will not have love for Skinny like that because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
why you have to take a man outside to recognize the talent?
Well, Peter, that's why you people need to know. I keep on saying people don't understand. I don't know if they figure I could talk for myself. But
No,
you have to let people know. You have to document and let. Listen to me.
Yeah.
What's his name? Kofi and Maxime said the same thing last time. Maybe Joe P too. If people don't know, how are they going to show?
True.
I heard Mikel on even on Fliner show said the same thing. One of the things she regrets is not letting people know how good she is in her own country. Isn't it? People don't know Mikel out of the country. You understand?
Yeah.
They don't know what she has done, and I know that because I used to work in New York in the music industry, right?
Right.
Yes,
But they don't know. Listen to me. Most of the artists I like currently, since when I lived in Dominica, all right, are mostly females.
Right.
As we say, Skinny is on a thing by himself,
Yep.
but it's mostly them females I like. I'm telling you straight. And Nickel is at the top of the heap, right? And she has always been at the top of the heap, but her people don't know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to tell people and let them know on our shows. You understand?
Facts.
So that when they go, so that at least when we go out and we acting as ambassadors, even though we live in Toronto or Ajax or we live in England or whatever,
wherever you be,
we have somebody like that.
Yeah.
Here's the music.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to know. You cannot just keep it for yourself. And even though Peter, as a writer, he is in his own right one of the better writers in the Booyah for a long while, even though he's not current, people have to know.
Right.
yeah, man.
Yeah, but
And
go ahead,
I need to end that with you mentioned DDL. That's the other band I forgot. I need to say something important about that band. Very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Lyndon and them, man, were part of the Rootsteman branches, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, Linden,
Terra,
Bujo,
Dave Bellot, and then a partner by the name of Radigan, who was probably one of the original engineers in Dominica that first put music on cassette. Radigan.
Actually, you're right.
Lennox
He
Roy.
lives up here now. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a partner we have to interview and get him on because he have a lot of history too.
Right.
First guy
Nice.
in Dominica, together with
Yeah, man.
Macquarie, to put music on a cassette or reel to reel. You understand?
Right.
No, I'm gonna go back to DDL. DDL had Lyndon, right? You remember when Connor used to talk about 17 plus and the partner Funk from Kelly and Funk or from 17 plus, the keyboardist?
Yeah.
When Mr. come Dominica, and then people start getting drum machines in Dominica, Lyndon was probably the first guy to get a drum machine. Guess what? Up to when CK in 93, not 93, 94, was making beats, Lyndon was the best programmer in Dominica. Nobody don't know that.
Yeah, he
He went to school together with me. I know when he started, I know what he did. He was the best programmer in Dominica up till 94.
Right.
Yeah,
The only person that could give Lyndon a run for his money was Clint.
Yeah.
Not even Cornell, as good as he is there, could give Lyndon. So we need to document Lyndon. Lyndon being crucial in the programming thing.
Right.
And also DDL as a band,
Mhm.
a 4-piece band, right? They are Donny Abraham, so it's a 4-piece
Yeah,
band.
we are done here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another band people don't talk about. They don't know about it. They never put anything on cassette.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of them bands back in the day too didn't used to do that. We were kind of different because we were good at making songs.
Right.
And then you have people. You always need somebody in the band to push the vibe. So somebody that's willing to go and take a loan, get the money, go and beg for money somewhere. You always need somebody like that.
Leader, yeah.
Then other bands didn't have that. Tropic Tension didn't have that. DDL didn't have that.
Right.
Lucas didn't have that. Washington Warriors didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of bands didn't have that kind of vibe.
Right.
But I want to mention DDL because in the history of things, you have to mention them fellas, and eventually two of them end up playing for RSB.
Right.
Cheryl singing Incline Jam on RSB, right?
Yeah, he sang. He
Yeah.
sang.
Yes, yes,
more
yeah.
than that.
He wrote the
All
words.
his years with
He wrote the words.
RSB.
Yeah.
David Terrell, right?
Yeah.
But people don't know about that. People just know the man playing. He was playing for Fanatic and then he ended up playing for Serenade.
Yeah.
No,
I
and
don't know
that's
about
people, let me tell you that.
Sure,
That's
they love
another
that.
thing too. If I may say that, Jeffrey, let me jump in.
Uh-huh.
Dave is a bad man. And you have to, let me tell you something.
Tell them
Yeah, Terrell,
Terrell.
let me tell you something. You see that quiet man there? The man is a musical genius. That man can make things work and put things together. Respect did it. And people don't know. And they need to know because even now when you listen to music, the music don't have parts.
No.
The music we listen to have no parts.
Well, we don't have
You know, yeah.
producers anymore. We have
We don't-
programmers now. So
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
but
have
Yeah.
beat makers,
you-
not
you-
producers.
it- it's
We have
just-
a lot of beat
the-
makers.
yeah, the music don't have parts. You don't hear no bounces nowhere. If they come and sit down there, Lord have mercy. Even Hayford, after Hayford getting on his synth and he gets his swing, the influence of listening to the VI music and all everything else, you could hear when he hold them high keys, like the jam band. Guys don't make nothing sing now. It's just play. You can basically stay on your synth and do that. I'm not knocking that it can be done. It can be done because certain songs call for those things.
right.
Not
Yeah,
all
yeah,
songs.
Not all songs.
Not all songs. But as a musician, though, you should be tied to your craft and building on your craft to set you apart from everybody else. So when you hear you have an ID.
Right.
Right now, it has no ID, guys. You cannot identify any player. You can identify what's his name, Kendall right now because Kendall have a certain tone he likes to play.
Yeah.
So you know when that playing is in.
Yeah.
Urson have a similar way, but he has a different tone
He has a
using.
different tone too.
Also-
He has a
Yeah.
different tone using and a different style. So that's kind of their ID.
Mhm.
I can know when Jason plays that's heads play because he has a similar groove with Kif because that's where he
Kif.
learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his
yeah.
mentor right there.
Yeah.
That's where Well, obviously we know the guy Bailey, the one from Pidit Savannah played the other band. He have a different swing, so you know he's in the company type. So that's his vibe there.
Yeah.
But apart from
That's
that,
about it. That's about it.
that's about it. I haven't got no ID. You know. So really and truly, again, like I said, I always throw myself in the pot. We just have to come together and try and make this thing better. And and the young generation though, they have to accept to be criticized. Because let me tell you something.
That's a big problem, huh?
Yeah, and that's what it is. You have to take the criticism because that song you just did there too, you and your friends, is the best thing ever sliced bread. Right? But if you put it online or you put it on musiczone.com or wherever you put it to sell, you might just sell about 5 copies. Ask yourself why.
Well, Peter, sliced bread
It's not that big for it.
sliced bread just goes stale too,
Yeah, exactly.
And if you leave it open by next day, it's not good.
It have mold.
Especially if you leave it in paper. Especially if you leave it in paper bag.
Paper bag is hard. It gets hard. So that you're right. That's exactly what they do in sliced bread.
They leave it in paper bag.
Yeah, tomorrow it don't go. Today is the bomb. Tomorrow is nothing.
Novelist,
Peter,
Peter mentioned something about Hayford. I need to mention Hayford in the production area. People don't know, right? You remember the first album of Raw Rhythm?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lyndon was not Lyndon. Hayford was in all the beats.
Yeah.
The beats.
Yeah.
People think it was Elson, you know?
I thought Elson did most of it too myself.
Well, people think it's Elson that do most of the beats. Hayford had a big part
They
to
work
play in that.
together. They
Because
work together.
out of all the musicians inside there, right? Hayford was the one that had the experience in making them kind of thing.
Right.
Right.
Remember that he come out from the effects line, right?
Exactly.
But you never hear anybody saying anything about Hayford. But I know that. Some people probably listening now might say Philo talking shit, but listen to me. A good part of the beats, Hayford.
Right. And let me just give a big shout out to the Royalty Band.
Oh wow.
Royalty.
Yeah, man. Out in New Jersey for sure.
Out of New Jersey. Hayford was an instrumental part in that band for a long while.
Yes.
You're
Playing
right.
the bass guitar and all the production and everything. And big up Bolo, big up the boys and them. You know? I believe, the Dominican music all over is still is we.
Yes.
You know? But collaboration is key. If you don't collaborate, It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
We try to do things within our. We try to do things from Kashaku to Portsmouth. You know, we have to do things about get artists to come on our work and push our work.
Yes.
We're too greedy.
Yes.
Imagine, Jeffrey, you said
Yes,
something. You said something earlier on, and I'm sorry, it was Peter who said something a while ago that the rhythm is the shit to you and your friends. You want to know something? One of the biggest problems we have in the Dominican music industry currently, it have too much yes men in that.
That's part of the problem.
My brother, before you make a pang pang, the thing can be
It's
something
good.
like a toilet bowl
Yeah.
because it's your partner. Yeah, man, it's good.
Yeah, I've heard you said that before, and that is correct.
It have too much yes men. And another thing too, I don't think people see the importance or take music as a serious, legitimate career. They don't
It's
because
a art
they
form, yes.
see it as a pastime. Yeah, man, you can go and play keyboard, but on Monday to Friday you have to go buy your stuff and dirty.
But see, I don't understand why they think it like that, because they might not know Michelle Henderson exploits on the international scene and artists she have worked with, but they know that's what she does for a living. How can you not take example in that? Gordon and them do that for a living. Ophelia for a good chunk of time did that for a living, part time and otherwise.
Yeah, man.
But Philo, just hold it there for a second. Yes, they did it. But I think so. Also, you have to blame some of them for not even teaching the ways about it. They did it and they did it for themselves. It's only now, and seriously, they held it back because this was like, that is my plate of food, and me as if I don't know what else to go and take my dash in.
Sure.
Is that part of a larger conversation, Vibes Daddy, as we're on the topic? Because to say that about the elders, and I do respect where they're coming from as a disc jockey, to say that you want to give back. Maybe it's a position where you wanted to give back, but like you say, you have to eat. And one thing I'm very well aware with music, whether you is a artist or musician, let me tell you something, people, when you're serious about music, it'll make you travel. It does make you travel. It does end up places you didn't know you wouldn't have been thinking of a year before.
Yeah,
definitely.
I love what you said, though, for sure. Yes, sir.
But it's the same thing as a collaboration, yeah?
Yeah.
But let me explain to you guys.
Take you further, yes.
It's a broader discussion, true. But I'm going to give you an example. You see when the man do that thing in the 70s, the Cadas
yes, sir.
Listen to me. When Gordon go there, Gordon go because he have his mindset of what he want to do. But he bring people over. And when he bring people over, eventually, people follow. And when he couldn't do a gig, he give them the gig.
Right.
So that's what Peter talking about, by the way.
But that's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's how you call it. You pass the baton. You understand?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because for instance, my thing is how I seen it for now. A long time ago, we should have a pool where or something. Yeah, Novelas, I want in Russia to perform tonight, but Novi checking why I had other commitments within that I really cannot escape from. Yo, Philo, let me ask you. I supposed to pitch in there, but I needed to go and pitch in for me. If you have that kind of love and that kind of an engine rolling, guys working together, the thing always going. But the thing about it is, the music ran for a while and then it does stop. But we don't get any music from the because the guys are never actually involved. Let's say they're involved in some other vibes going on in their life like everybody else. But we don't keep the engine rolling because we're hearing everything for ourselves. It's not about you. The music, let me tell you, you will come alive, you will die, you will live that thing here. It's not your own. Your mother didn't live it for you.
Continue.
And it will continue.
But Peter, that's where AMP comes in, right? You guys have AMP. Well, and I wanted to hear stuff like that.
All right.
Because to me, right, AMP should be a union. Not everybody agree with me. Some big fellas in the big wigs I talk to, they don't agree with me, but I still keep in that. I think AMP should be a union. One of the things I learned when I was back in New York working with the music vibe, right? They used to have guys coming from Jamaica to play certain artists, right?
Right.
And sometimes if the usual guys cannot come, they go to that same pool Peter talking about, and they bring in guys. Same style that know the music well. Don't need a lot of practice. AMP supposed to be an organization that doing stuff like that, almost like a union. You see right now, there's a situation where COVID and not much performance going on except for the Carlin doing her thing. Bob do something,
Right.
Michelle did something at one point in time. Really, there's nothing happening, right?
True.
If AMP was organized in that form, and remember, I'm need to get some kind of stipend from the musicians to keep things going, right? So then what would happen is that during COVID, people not working, musicians not working in the field that didn't involve living, hey, we can give you like $200 every month. You know that happening in Jamaica,
Put on a
right?
virtual show. Yeah.
That happening in Jamaica, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Philo,
The first time,
as
in 2000, Gregory Isaac was in the studio rehearsing for tour, right? And the partner that was the personal manager, he came and he said he talked to me about Nasir. Because he said usually when you're artist or group, your original music come out in the early years, does be the best music for him. That's what he thinks, right? So we're in a conversation and then I asked him, I just see a circuit running there about the Jamaican music. How are you doing that? When you go back, what happened? He told me, well, first of all, we just get taxed in it. I said, excuse me? He said, yeah. When we go out and we get the US, you think we just come in and use the US and nobody is getting from it? We're getting taxed because we're part of the association.
Right.
And the association has to pay to the government.
Right.
Listen to me, that's music, it's a business. So same as I told Mark Murray that Peter Later, Peter Later is the wrong example. Well, let's take somebody else and not part of the leadership. In Swinging Stars, it's basically an employer of Swinging Stars.
Right.
An employee of Swinging Stars, sorry. Therefore, Swinging Stars should be paying something for them to Social Security. And I told him that's where AMP should come in. That's what I had a conversation with Mark Murray and say that's where AMP should come in. If Kendall in let's say in Triple K, let's say he owns shares in Triple K, so he and two fellas or three fellas they own the band. But anybody that's under them is an employee.
Right.
You have to pay Social Security.
Right.
Makes sense.
I'm supposed to be able to do stuff like that and organize people. Okay, as Peter said, have the pool, get the stipend. If one of the musicians need a visa to go and replace, let's say, Triple K somewhere and the guitarist falls sick and need another guitarist, we have another Booyah guitarist that plays the same style.
Yeah.
Have avenues of getting that visa quick time and you can go and do the gig with them. You understand stuff like that?
Right.
This is what the partner was explaining to me in 2000 when he come to the studio and Gregory Isaac was rehearsing to me. That's how things are done.
Right.
So even sometimes when the promoter or the manager of the band that call for the musicians cannot do the transaction right away, the association pay for the ticket, get the visa, and they will get it back from the manager. You understand stuff like that?
yeah, but as you're saying that is something I brought up in a little forum. We were talking to Mikel and them, and as you know, the association was running, but then it kind of lapsed for a while. So now they're in the revamping stage, doing what they have to do, and I think they're on a good footing, and it's like the musicians have to cooperate with everything and make sure. And
Yeah,
make
but
sure
you have to tell the musicians what you can do for them.
But listen to what I'm saying. Like I said, that was something that was brought up, But they have a lot of things they're trying to put in place and try to get the support of the government also to give them, because as everything else is about money, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't need government to be in that.
No, that's what I'm saying. There will be certain funding. There will be certain training.
I understand what you're saying, Peter, but
yeah,
the same talk you're giving me there, Mark Murray gave me the same talk, and I said, listen to me. The government don't have to be in that. The
government. No, listen. I'm
talking about money. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. The money is only to run certain things. It's not to make the government doesn't make the decisions.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that
the government should not.
I'm saying the government should not have to give them money. I am saying that you are musicians. You come. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let me give you a perfect example. You see the Calypso Association.
Yeah.
That is the most progressive association in Dominica. And I'm not saying that because I like Calypso. You understand? I am saying that because Ghost galvanized them, man, back in the day. And say, fellas, we need to have our own spot to have our meetings. We need to have our own land, our own Calypso house. And they're renting it right now. Listen to me. Do you know that the Dominica Calypso Association is the only Calypso association from Saint Martin to Trinidad that is not financed by the government.
Yeah, but do you know that the Calypso Association, after every year of Calypso, they still get some sort of funding from the government. They still get.
No. Let us. I'm gonna be very frank there.
Guys,
about that.
They still get.
No.
That's
You know what?
That's what different.
We're
You know
gonna
what
have to
is?
bring effects back in.
Bringing Ghost and bringing Observer. One day, ask them if they can come on the show. Listen to me. The
Yeah.
Calypso Association in Dominica, the most progressive group association from Saint Martin to Trinidad. And all because them are controlling their money. They're making their money. Listen to me. Back in the day, remember, Calypso wasn't much of a. It was they used to think of Calypso as being a next sal kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
They man organize and centralize yourself. They man controlling the money. If government give them a donation, they're not dependent on that money. That's what I'm saying. You understand?
But
They
we know,
controlling their thing.
okay, that's for another discussion, like we say. But like we say,
Yeah, fellas.
it's startup money, and nothing wrong in getting startup fame.
Right.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
guys, like you were
I
saying,
think- Yes, I think
Go ahead.
we're going astray there with the Calypso.
Yes,
man.
yes.
Um,
we were just on the thing of organization. So
Yeah,
you know.
right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so
Yeah, really though.
it is a good example, but
Right.
it's a total different discussion, and
Yeah.
we have gone way past
I
way past
noticed
our
that.
time.
Yeah.
Man, let
Wow.
me tell you,
I mean,
man.
so
We don't even touch nothing really.
No,
yeah,
we
exactly, right?
touch a lot.
We do invite our guests to come back
Novi.
at any time.
Yeah.
Hold on, sir. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's an option that's open,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Thanks,
We are going till, for a lot of people that don't know, we are going till like mid of June and then come back in the fall time for the second season. So I would definitely like to have you guys back with us. Maybe, more guys could join you guys or
I wanted to get Hayford, but Hayford was going out of town to work, so.
right.
But the next time we can try to get Hayford in, I want to get him in because he needs to talk.
Hold on. So Jeffrey,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to tell you why the government needs to be involved.
Oh,
And it's
let's
not about
go back
finances.
there, no, man.
Remember, Jeffrey, when you're doing music, you deal with technology. You have to upgrade your technology a lot. And let me tell you something, bringing in your equipment can be very expensive. And you know that
You're right about
Dominica,
You're right about
Dominica
that.
has some of the highest customs duty ever. We
That's
don't need them
true.
to give us money, but we need them to give us an ease up on the customs duty.
No, you're right about that. That's totally correct. That's
So
totally correct.
that is more or less what amp needs to do, negotiate stuff like that.
You're
Yeah.
right.
That's
Right.
what they need to be doing. But they also talking about getting standardized pricing for us the musicians, so that promoters know they can't pay novelists $10 and then want to watch me and pay me $2.
Yes.
You understand? So that is the different stuff. But
Yeah.
like novelist said, you guys are welcome back. We have gone, boy. Let me tell you something. That almost novelist. Boy.
Hey, man. As a co-host and a fan, I'm pretty sure, speaking on the fans' behalf, a lot of people out there right now who are watching live and will probably rewatch later has
Right.
appreciated this conversation.
Of
for
course.
sure.
I
sure.
as a close fan of
Yeah.
Effects and even Partners in Crime and Ratic and whatever else you guys have worked with, I learned a lot tonight as well. I knew certain
man.
things, and
man.
I just had to sit back and let you guys say what you all had to say, but I definitely learned a lot, and I know there's a lot more to learn from you guys. And let's
Novelist will tell
let's
you it
make
takes
it
a lot
happen
to
again.
get the CEO to shut up and only had him quiet. Oh, trust me.
man.
Because listen,
Well, if you are Peter and I on the same thing,
it's
because
true. It takes
Peter and
a
I
lot
also
to
will
be
be
quiet.
arguing a lot
Right.
and fighting a lot.
Right.
It's going to be something like that. I don't know.
No. I learned so much. There was so much things about effects, but I didn't learn. And then here's the thing: there's a number of people who did not know that effect, what Peter did, the kind of work Peter has done.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, hold
Wow.
on, ladies and gentlemen. I am sorry, but I have to say good evening to the great Mr. Gordon Henderson, who just
Pop up
popped up
now.
on the live.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
evening to
Congrats.
Mr.
Good evening,
Henderson.
General.
Good evening.
No, 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 no.
Good evening.
He's emperorship.
Yeah, the
Man,
big boss.
respect
The
to
big
the
boss right
elders.
there.
Yes,
That
sir.
man is the reason why we have a music in one of the reasons why we have a music industry in Dominica and
Right.
Yeah,
and
the
young
big
people
boss.
whenever all you see this man, pay all the respect and don't never
Yeah.
disrespect him in all your life because all you'll have is CEO to deal with after that.
And that's what I was about to say earlier too about people like, for instance, showing respect to like Jeffrey Oladipo and Mikel
Right.
being so great. And yo, let me tell you something. We need to start to put the crown on our king's head and the
Yes.
crowns on our queens and princesses.
Yes.
Because if they're good, let's support them and say they're good. If trash them, better would have been better, you know. You think if she didn't work with that producer or that producer? Because there are a lot of right now the female artists in Dominica are the vibe now.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the better ones. They're
They
the
are the
better ones.
vibe.
By
Yeah,
far.
I mean marketability, you know, they are the vibe now. We have the Stashas, we have the Tasha, Madame Carlin. I call her Madame Carlin now because you know she up there.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
these people we have to give them our support because we cannot want to be appreciating somebody else's thing more than on our own.
Facts.
We can big up our own and make it bring us great. Because if you put this artist and them on the same stage, battle for battle, vocal for vocal, you might say because of experience and the exposure to certain industries, they might outdo our own. But give our own little push
Yes.
and see what happens.
Yes.
You know, we have to support what is ours and give the big up and give the support that we need. You know, because endless times that a lot of artists cannot take criticism. To them, you shoot them down right away. They go with that. They don't have nothing to do with that again. You understand? Some of them, they can take it and they take it so negatively that they self go out on a tangent that's going to kill them negatively anyway.
Right.
So all them things there you have to go to grow them artists because being an artist is not just jumping on stage and you have to do all this kind of artist management thing and know how to present yourself and you know how to. They just see you seen all these big artists doing their thing there. These things, most of the things are scripted.
Yeah.
They have to sit down a certain way to show their best side.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Don't think it happening like that. This is a marketing tool.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
Now they have to understand those kind of things, and a lot of our artists and them, yes, we are good, but we green. So we need people in the industry now that can do the artist management and to do all those things to help the artists to come in and try and help and give you a little 5 cents to pick up the industry. You know, myself, I wouldn't think.
Make use of people like Gordon too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, reach out. Gordon is easier to reach out. I'm not as easy to reach out as Gordon, but I'm going to try to make myself as accessible as I can be to anybody that wants to work on anything because there's no sort of say, well, boy, Mr. Maybe working on Boy or Mr. No, anything. We can make it work. And it's music. We can make it work. Just picture and bounce ideas like, you know, I have my good boy Anwar from Signal. We always bounce ideas on another. We always bounce ideas all along the place. I'm good with Signal and all bands in Dominica are good with them.
Right.
You know, something. So we can work together. Collaboration is key. We cannot do it on our own. We need to bring Dominica to Guadeloupe. We need to bring Dominica or continue bringing Dominica to Guadeloupe. Go South Africa. I was watching a movie here to close, and I heard some riffs. It's Gangs of Joburg, right? It's a Netflix thing, and I heard some riffs coming out, and I said, "Well, what trouble are you doing down there?" My brother, let me tell you that it's nothing to laugh about. The exact groovers flow.
Yes.
In a song in the background.
Wow.
I say, Jesus. And here we are now, playing with what we have. Nigeria alone maybe about 10 million plus.
Yes.
We have to tap in. It's time we tap in. Taking too long. We have to tap in. So guys, thanks once again for having us and thanks for bringing up the music. And to big up everybody in the music industry in Dominica. Let's work together. Let's do what we have to do. Philo, that's my brother right there, my bigger brother. We struggle together, but we still boxing it out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But the man making me so old. I want you older than the man, you know.
Yo, let me tell you that. Before I go, right? Jeffrey from since we're younger, right? Well, since we're younger, Jeffrey has been like my bigger brother, my hustler, my mentor, my everything. I always follow Jeffrey everywhere he goes.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Before, when Jeffrey was going to high school, SMA. After that, Jeffrey used to go to Tropicraft by St. Martin School. But you know Tropicraft up there, the big billionaires, they do the newspapers.
Yeah.
Right. And every Friday or two in the course of the week, Jeffrey used to sell newspapers. You guys don't know that. You see all the quiet?
Chronicle. Beginnings.
Chronicle.
Oh, the Chronicle.
Yeah, all you don't know
Okay,
that.
yes, okay.
That man used to sell his Chronicles under his arm, and I always used to be following him. That time is about that Jeffrey. 75 cents a Chronicle. About that. Yeah, you know. I used to be following that man on his hustle doing his thing.
Right.
So that's why when in the band from day one, he has always been on his street smart and on his hustle more advanced than us because he had already started to live that life very early. So you see, so that's why a lot of times you get in a battle with him on discussing certain things. It's because he has walked out on certain roads already, so he can tell you.
Yes.
You know?
Sir.
Yes.
So that, you know, just want to say respect guys once again for having us, and for all the fans out there, keep on supporting the music, keep on doing what you're doing. Dominica, I always say DA for sure. DA for sure.
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for doing that. As I said, documenting is important. So currently, you have Dissect. You have me and my partner in the military working on a documentary, and then you have Gordon with what's his name, with Wadix and them doing the Curl Habit show.
Yes.
That comes up documenting. You understand?
Yes.
Also, it's not just the show. They have a magazine.
Yeah, they have a magazine too.
Okay.
They have a magazine too.
I didn't realize they had the
But I
magazine.
want to thank you all
they have
for
the
doing
magazine.
that show, just like how Joe P and Kofi and Colin Feathers were documenting.
Right.
That is important, trust me.
Very much so.
Very
Yeah.
much.
Enough
Very
thanks,
much
boss.
so.
We want to
Yeah.
thank you guys for joining us. And like I said, we have to do this again because we on here for what 3 hours now.
Yeah, almost 3 hours.
And
we
there's
like
a
9
lot-
minutes short.
And there's
yeah.
a lot more
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be said. You know what I mean? So we'll
Okay.
definitely have you guys back here with us again. So thank you guys
We
for
appreciate
joining
it.
us tonight.
Yeah, guys,
and-
thanks a lot, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
the
man.
love.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Respect.
All right,
Yes,
bless.
sir.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Effects Band, the man Daddy Philo, and of course the man Vibes Daddy. And like I say, Vibes Daddy wrote for every band in Dominica. Like I don't even think he remembers some of the bands he wrote for.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
And
it
to
was
go
a
and
great
lie, you know,
show.
after hearing about Madagascar, I will never dance to play effects, play the same way. You know, I can see the woman dancing on me and telling her, "Hey, give me 2 feet." When that song done, I go check you. I have a different meditation, right? Like I go somewhere else.
Wow.
Very inspiring. Very,
Yes,
very inspiring.
yes,
No
yes.
lie.
Wow.
I learned a lot tonight, and I'm sure a lot of viewers learned some stuff tonight as well, right? So, I want to thank you guys for joining us.
I was going to ask
CEO.
if I could do the outro tonight. Please.
Yes,
I
go
have-
ahead, please, go ahead.
So, on behalf of myself, DJ Kaiser down below, the man novelist of the Islands Therapy crew, After Lunch Mix crew. Don't forget, join me during the week, Monday to Friday, for the After Lunch Mix. As we leave you with this one from the Big Bad Effects Band. Have a lovely evening.
And
See
the
you
next
Saturday.
week, next Saturday,
Boy.
we have with us. You see, that's why I do the outro. Next
Yes,
Saturday, we
that
have
one
with
is
us the Dominica Association of Toronto is going to be with us. All right, so
Right.
we're going to be talking to the president of the Dominican Association in Toronto, and she goes by the name of Andy. We'll be talking to her, and also we'll be talking to a cultural group from Edmonton in Canada as well. So until next week Saturday, we'll leave you guys like this. Have a blessed week, blessed weekend. Godspeed.
Hey DJ,